wiki. Ni Wednesday, siku ya siasa, niko na kama na Muchendu na anasema the best the Duchess, is it the Duchess of Maragoli. Ruth Ambogo anambia kwamba siasa kunaendaje pale, kuna nini wapi, alafu nani amefanya nini wapi na kwa nini. Haya, hii ndio tackle bari. Nimeona pia hatimaye IMF imeweza kutoa mawasiliano kuhusu mkopo wa Kenya baada ya tetesi kuu wa Kenya. So tutakuja kujua ni lipi limefanyika wapi, kwa nini, wameweza kuangalia mambo vipi, alafu tujue pesa yenu itakuwaje. Nimeona pia Eric Mwangi Ngigi cha CEO Maridani sama it's very hard to be the first comment here. Request your fans to allow me to be number one ones. Haya basi bwana CEO, tuongeleshe wewe kupa nafasi kidogo. Ruth Ambogo, leo ndio tutuombea siku ya leo.
Nitawaombea. Tufunge macho na tuombe. Mungu Baba, Mungu Mwana, Mungu Roho Mtakatifu, tuaja mbele zako leo asubuhi. Tunakupa sifa kwa sababu umetuonyesha siku ya leo, umetuwezesha kuweza kuamka na kufika hapa kwenye studio. Mungu, hatuchukulii kimzaha kwamba umetupa uhai siku ambayo watu wengi wanapoteza maisha yao, hata tukizungumza kuhusu janga hili la COVID. Mungu, tunapoanza show hii tunaomba kwamba uwe na sisi, uwe na producer, uwe na producers wote, uwe na host wetu, na pia sisi tukiwa wageni tuweze kuchanganua masuala ya kisiasa kwa njia ambayo inaeleweka na njia ambayo inawapa wasikilizaji mwelekeo wa nchi inaenda wapi na jinsi ambavyo wanaweza jisaidia kimaisha. Tunaomba kwamba show yenyewe ishike na iwe show ambayo itasaidia maisha ya wengi. Tunaomba haya katika jina la Yesu Kristo. Amina.
Asante sana.
Na Kiswahili yangu iko sawa?
Ndio nimeona kabisa. Na Kiswahili ya Mungu mkola ni moja. Nakuambia watu walikuwa wanasema nini kabla tuingie. But it's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the Tackle, being the Wednesday of 7th April 2021. Nashukuru sana kuona mwaka tayari ishaenda. Mwaka ikifika mwezi wa 4 basi unajua kwamba hiyo mwaka imetuacha. Nashukuru tena kuona. Karibuni sana. When you get in, please like, share and let us know where you're watching us from. Naona Emmanuel Serem, my brother good morning good people. Good morning to my brother Kiblanga Benny. Good morning Lindale firstborn wa Magi watching. Asante sana Monalas Constantas. Good morning. Good morning to you Isaac. Emmanuel Serem Musha Isaac Serem na Leonard Serem. Karibuni amkeni. Nimeona Kagife inasema good morning watching from Thika Town. Asante sana watu wa Thika. Doro anasema haro GB. Haro Doro, umepotea sana. Nilikuwa nikupigia simu nikuulize hii wiki umeenda wapi wewe, mchezo unayo. Haya, Joba Suma anasema good morning. Good morning to you Joba Suma CEO mwenyewe Maridadi Moto. Sema it's very hard to be the first. Kesho tafadhali mwache CEO aongoze na uweke notification tukienda live unakuja unakuwa nambari ya kwanza. Reborn MC Chris anasema good morning watching from county 029. Josiah Kinuthia good morning from Kikuyu sub county. Elfas Bonga anasema tuko ndani. Asante sana MC Kalia chairman menokwisha Kadolib anasema good morning. Good morning to you Samuel Mwangi. Good morning watching from 034. Asante Munga Haluta continue tuning in from Convent United Kingdom, enjoying the show. Thank you so much my brother for always coming in, I really appreciate. Abraham KB Talk watching from 029. Thank you, good to see you. Esparadito Mudhe anasema Mararok tuko ndani. Silas Kia following from 027. Thank you so much. Karo kiwa masi watching from Kayole. Asante sana. Anaamsha watu wa Nyeri. Haya, najua leo hujaamsha watu wa Nyeri lakini nakusaidia kuamsha watu wa Nyeri. Haya, amkeni. Naona Moses Kamonsa good morning from Sisibo. Itakolwa tunaikunywa kama Azama itakuwa tunaikunywa kama quinine. We can't afford kukosa kumeza. Asante sana. Thank you so much my brother all the way from Eldoret. Moses Kamaguru, see you. Mnene radhi muno. Keep take Siasa Wednesday. Leo ni leo. Middle current is following, not upper not lower. Haya, asante sana watu wa middle current. Eva Chepkemoi mheshimiwa Elgeo Marakwet yuko ndani. Good morning to you Ezekiel Koech watching from Eldoret. Welcome team and the Duchess of Maragoli. I like your program because you started with a prayer. Gerald, tutakuwa nawe Parliament 2022. Hallelujah. Asifiwe Yesu. Jeff Jabwai good morning watching from Nairobi. Baadhi kuna mtu aliuliza kwa YouTube ati kwa nini mnaombanga? When you know what God has done for you.
Hata hiyo kuamka tu. Even just waking up.
Hiyo kuamka tunakuja kusema good morning.
I mean, na by the way umesalimika. Umesalimika na rafiki yangu anaitwa Sajida. Sajida anafanya kazi pale Lubao FM. Lubao ni pale Kakamega. Amesema kwamba good Kiswahili mheshimiwa Gotea Bitok mwambie Ingoho inamngoja hapa Kakamega. Uko na Ingoho Kakamega
tunafika.
Watu wa huku watu wa Kiambu na siku ambaye kupatia ofa ya Ingoho.
Watu wanadua choyo wale. Mshindo nimekaa na miaka ngapi?
Mshindo hizo miaka zote. Na imagine mimi siku yangu ya ngapi?
Unajua, wacha nikwambie There is a saying in Kikuyu, inasemanga in the French, gutire modro menyi na warioge. Like, there is no man who is the mother to another man. That I should spend your time here telling you that you should come. You know what happens, Bitok? The next time you are in Moiben, you will receive a call from me and I'm telling you I'm around. Where are you? So you don't wait for me to call you.
Now what if
you show up in my vicinity? Hapana, wacha nikwambie hakuna mzee Mkikuyu ana mbuzi iko tayari pahali. Ukisema tu niko within. Lakini sisi tukae hapa na wewe tupange hata vile utakuja kukula mbuzi kwetu. My friend utagoja ya. You will wait.
Utanipata nikikula lunch na mama.
You will wait. Utafast.
Asante sana Lubalo, usema Lubalo FM.
It's a zone in Kakamega. It's an area in Kakamega.
Tafanya county edition tuende pale Kakamega, tukae na watu wa Lubao.
Yes, na pia kuna station yao inaitwa Lubao FM. Yes, it covers all the five sub-counties. 5 counties in Western.
5 counties.
Yes.
Asante sana. Watu wanajikaza kabisa. Wajikaze, tutaenda huko Kakamega tukule kuku. Asante sana watu wa Lubao FM. Tutakuja pale Kakamega tule kuku kabisa. Naona Muchendu, hii ucho yako punguza bwana. Sawa tu, lakini Yesu ni Bwana. Jeff Cheboy and good morning watching from Nairobi. We miss Ayala. Ayala hajakuwa akisikia vizuri, lakini kesho majaliwa tutamwona Ayala, atakuwa amerudi. Ayala mahali ulipo, watu wako wamesema pole ugua pole, lakini urudi kazini. So Lucia, kuanzia kesho tafadhali ingia kazini. Naona Jemo Ruth anasema Kitengela Kajiado wako ndani. Asante sana Jemo. MC Kalia mwenekisha Kitolip Chairman anasema hapo kwa like tab. Haya, Ndungu Walaina anasema Kenyans need to study carefully the conditions under which IMF News is extending loan facility of 257 billion to Uhuru Kenyatta government. Uhuru Kenyatta government is expected to float euro bonds to raise money. Akia nani? Woi, this could be in range of 2 trillion or more. Woi. Okay. Jagi gonna say watching from KNH. Asante sana toka KNH First Anui falling from Eldoret. Asante sana Esparito Mudhe. Ana ameleta kaneni kana blow kakisa hapo kama ana blowia Ruth Ambogo. Simi anayengo anasema good morning Simon from Siasa. Asante sana toka Siasa. Anapenda Andrew Kadhirimu niko ndani. Asante Robbie Cheps Chamgejera tuko ndani Nairobi. Asante sana Alberto Nyakundi Amenya Banana Pedla anasema tuned in from Nairobi. Asante sana Christopher Sang Muto Plantation all the way from Diaspora. Asante niko doctor at the plantation in Kansas City. Kazi ni kazi my friend. Kazi ni kazi, mboka ni mboka, wera ni wera. Haya, Ezekiel Bet, good morning watching from 047. Asante sana watu wenda Soleria. Asante sana Ezekiel Bet. Sharon Shani tuned in from Viga. Karoki wa mas Sharon Shani ule mtu wako coordinator.
Huyo ni mtu wangu wa nguvu sana.
Coordinator.
Yule anatoa coordinator wa Isava Ludai wa ward.
Coordinator.
Super coordinator. She's the one who also coordinates my team Ambogo Queens. Huyo msichana anajua kupanga kazi sana. She's a beautiful lady and she knows how to panga kazi.
Sifu Yesu. Kuna vile umesema vizuri. Sharon Chane. Coordinator.
These are accolades, my friends. You are even tempted to want to...
Iwezi pita Muchendu.
No. Unajua ukisikia mtu amepewa hizo accolades. And those of us who like planned things and well-planned things
and organized
things, you want to associate with people like that. You know.
Nakuona. Akaroki wabasema General tell Muchendu he has been blessing me by their worship team of KG. Kwa Muchendu na kanisa tena mko na mrei.
Yes, unajua babangu ni bishop. So since now the churches are closed down, we do an online service. So that's what, when I'm not doing politics and my personal businesses, I'm always on church recording services and booming them live.
Okay, unaibaga ama?
Naona unajimarket.
No, I don't. I'm not a good singer, that's a fact. Yes, but I love recording. I love putting those worship team on live Facebook and YouTube. So,
ifikie wale ambao
mnaweza tumeko pia nasikia nani alishuka siku hizi itishi 3 tena anaendisha so lazima Kenya hata kama ni 100
but you know, let me tell you the beauty about this lockdown. It is going to separate those people who are in church because they want to serve God and those who are in church because they want to make money. Now that doesn't denounce the fact that money is good. And there are things like going to Facebook, recording those equipment cost money. But it is going to demystify that idea of those people who see church as a business rather than a place to go and play, a place to go and supplicate yourself. So I think there is always that bad and good side of everything, and church is not exempted from that.
Yes.
So kuna wengine unasikia wakisema upande mbegu ya corona. Watu wanapanda, you know. I'm telling you, Kenyans, if they are not careful, they will lose their money either in church or in betting. Those are the two things that Kenyan freely, yes.
What you're saying is that we basically as Kenyans have to be very careful
about
the religions we subscribe to.
Precisely.
And avoid this, what is it called? Religious dogma.
Yes.
Where you follow somebody blindly, you know? You cannot even think for yourself.
Yes.
I remember the other day, by the way, just on this topic slightly, I had a conversation. I was in a salon where we were discussing, you know, in a salon you discuss everything and anything, yeah? So we were discussing the issue of tithing. And I remember the lady I was talking to was talking about how her faith teaches her that you have to tithe no matter what. And I kept asking her that in the Bible, and I hope I'll just keep it very short, this conversation, yeah? In the Bible, when Jesus gave the parable of the donkey on a Sunday, on a church day, that your donkey imevunjika mguu on a church day, yeah? Utafanya nini? Utaenda kwa kanisa ama utaenda kuokoa punda. Now that lady, I told her that is synonymous to tithing. If today, for example, God forbid, you have a job that pays you, let's say 40,000 shillings. You live in a house worth 15k. Rent yako nini? Ukishajipanga, umemaliza kujipanga. If your salary is 40k, tithe yako inafaa ikuwe 4k, sindio? If we are going by the 10%. But assuming one of those months, you have a sick child. On that Sunday when you're supposed to go give that 4k, na umemaliza budget zako zote, umebakisha hiyo 4k. Nikauliza yo mama, your child is on ICU support. Umeambiwa, we need to buy this child oxygen, or we need to give them 44 pints of blood, otherwise atakufa. Guess what that lady told me? I asked her, would you tithe that 4k or would you take the 4k mtoto wako apatiwe damu? Alisema atachukua hiyo 4,000 shillings na atapeleka kanisa. Nikamwambia, we muna test Mungu. Ati God can never test her that far.
There is
nimeona Pastor Dennis Ndumbi tayari ameingia salamu akubwa tuko hapa nje ya IMF. Atatuambia
sasa just to touch on there is a problem we are having as a nation and in Africa specifically. The fanaticism and sycophancy in the region is a very dangerous thing. I was before I saw you post a photo of that pastor from Zimbabwe. I was reading about him elsewhere. Yes? That is what we call religion fanaticism. That he is given a red carpet and all the pastors under him are kneeling. They are kneeling down for him to come. That is not faith. That is not the God kind of religion, that the God kind of worship. That is fanaticism and sycophancy about someone.
Yes.
And that is a person who has brainwashed people to believe like he is the Messiah. Today, I want to believe that my dad, who is also my pastor, he is the person in charge of guiding my spiritual warfare and my spiritual life. But that no. But that doesn't make him a God in my life.
Yes,
it doesn't make me a God in my life. In fact, anybody who does not teach you, a pastor who does not teach you to pray about yourself, because most pastors have antagonized people. That even when you get a cut with a knife in the kitchen, you call the pastor to pray for you rather than taking your first aid kit and treat that particular cut. That is not the kind of faith we are talking about.
Yes.
And I've realized with Corona and the problems Corona have brought, people have been pushing to their limit because they have not been fed with enough to take them through.
Yes.
They have been brainwashed and made to trust that there is only one person who can call God and he can come. That is Bitok.
Yes.
So when you go to Bitok, the Bitok tells you, panda begu ya Corona.
Na by the way watu wanapanda very
seriously. I'm telling you. I have seen someone in Kiambu who has exploited a congregation, and during Corona season he has moved from a premier to a V8.
Wow.
Those people are pandering begu ya Corona. These things, I'll be very honest. These things, I've been taught very serious gospel homiletics and etiquettes by my father.
Yes.
And those are not the kind of things that are taught, because we have pastors there who cannot tell you what sound theology is.
Yeah.
They cannot tell you what sound church doctrinal.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't
But
want
you
to
see,
dwell in that
Governor,
subject because
one
I
thing-
have a lot to
Governor,
talk about it.
One thing you need to realize is
Yes.
that my generation, the one I come from, we are not that brainwashed. If
Yes.
anything, kama kuna watu wenye hawabelievingi in those things of kupanda mbegu, it's this generation. For some reason we have some
Maana watu
level
wadogo
of...
ndio wanapanda mbegu.
Imagine
Ndio mashida ni
apana.
mingi.
Apana. The people who panda mbegu sana, the crazy panding of mbegu is mostly our parents, our parents' generation, because at
Hao
that
ndio
point they're
wakulima
thinking, hao ndio wakulima kabisa wa mbegu za corona. Because at that point they're thinking, I have a family, I have kids, how will these kids go to school? But sisi generation yetu, we are so liberated. In fact, our generation is the one that says, badala ya kupeleka hii tithe kwa kanisa. Na sisemi I'm not saying it's a good thing, and whoever wants to subscribe to that mentality, please do if you wish. But our generation is the one that says, mbona tusiungane this Sunday tupeleke chakula kwa children's homes? Sijui kama umai notice. Generation yetu, what they do, they come together and they say, this time round, this time round kila msee ajitolee pesa kidogo kidogo, and utapata most of the time hiyo pesa wanajitolea ni hiyo tithe wangepeleka kwa church. You find a lot of us saying, mimi si trust that pesa yangu nitapeleka kwa church na itafanya kazi nataka kufanya. So most of them say, I'll buy food for the homeless, I'll buy clothes for those, I'll buy bedding items for the homeless, I'll take food to a children's home, I'll go give to the poor, instead of going to give to a church that I'm not sure this pesa itatumika aje. Our generation is liberated when it comes to tithing.
Because I want one. Yes. I am a firm believer of tithing.
Yes.
I'm a very firm believer of tithing because tithing is godly and it is commanded for us to do that. It's a principle. You give and you receive. I am a firm believer of giving my offerings because those are offerings I give out of my heart. But there are things, when it comes, I am a firm believer of giving a seed, by the way. I am. But let me tell you, giving a seed is not, it's not something Bitok will come and tell me. Yes. Giving a seed comes from a conviction of the heart. Yes. That I believe if I give this money to the church, I am believing God is going to do something. But I don't do it because someone is exploiting me. And I want to tell people that other than giving your offering, giving your tithe, and giving your seed, be very careful what else you are being told. I have an aunt who lives in, used to live in Moro. Somewhere around their place called Turi, there was this tycoon, Turi in Moro. There was this tycoon. One of the pastors here in Nairobi had investigated and he had known that that particular mzee had a plot at Upper Hill. He's Upper Hill. Yeah, they pay. He had an Upper Hill there. Yes. So the mzee got sick. And one of the church members who is also used, I think, by the pastor, pastor here in Nairobi, they will go and they will find someone with a sickness and has something that can be taken. So he goes and tells that mzee, our pastor, is saying that he can pray for you.
And you will get well.
So the mzee is driven from Turi in Moro all the way to Nairobi. And the pastor tells him, you are allocated a plot in Upper Hill that was meant for God's work.
What?
And that is what is making you sick.
Are you serious?
So, I'm giving you a story of about 7 years ago. That mzee sold a plot in Upper Hill, I think 151 million. Tithed it in church. And the
entire money?
The entire money. 151 million.
Arudishe mali ya Mungu.
Akapeleka tithe.
Akapeleka a seed of repentance. So that he can get, yes. And I'm telling you, 7 years since then, he is still in that wheelchair. With a protein Upper Hill gone, and the pastor.
But you know that is exploitation, even legally.
Yes, I'm telling you, the following week the pastor was driving what do you call this? There's a vehicle is rare in Kenya. It's called a Chevron. It's an American Chevrolet. It's a layer American. It's not the one that you see on the road. It's a unique Chevrolet from America. That pastor the following week was driving it. So when I tell you people are being exploited in this republic in the name of God,
Yes.
They are being, so there is.
And I think there needs to be some laws
No,
about
yeah,
around
I
that.
think,
Yeah?
I think our
regulate.
people needs to be, if you are a Christian and you believe in the word of God, be rooted in that word. Understand the word of God. Even if you are not a church goer,
Yes.
understand Bible study. When you understand what the word of God says, nobody will exploit you. Because when someone tells you, let me tell you, there is something my father used to say. You know, those churches, Pentecostal churches, women will wake up in the morning on a Sunday and say God has given him a vision.
Yes.
She wants to share a vision with the church. Now, my father used to say,
Yes.
if God has given you a vision for this church, I am the priest of this church. Before you take that vision to the people, you bring it to the pastor.
Yes.
And then I was asking my dad, why do you do that? Akaniambia, I've been charged with the responsibility of feeding these people spiritually. I cannot allow just anybody to wake up and feed them crap.
Yes.
It is my responsibility to vet and see
from
what,
a spiritual point
from
of
a
view.
spiritual point to see what they are given. Now the problem in the republic is that there is no vetting, there is no sieving what people are receiving.
We don't have regulations,
Exactly.
legal regulations around religion.
I'm
That's
telling
why
you.
you find we need to regulate. To be honest, I like now the direction this conversation is taking. We really need to regulate first of all. No offense, I am a religious person.
Yes.
I am a religious person, but the first thing we need to regulate is mushrooming of very funny looking churches that in the name of I have God has opened spoken to me to open a church. Do you know that Rwanda, I think it was Rwanda that regulated.
It's Rwanda. You cannot
the opening
be a
of their
pastor if
churches.
you have not studied
if you have
theology.
not studied theology with proper papers, because at the end of the day, we are actually a gullible society.
Hey.
We are gullible. We are sold hope, and anywhere where hope is sold, whether that hope is true or fake, we buy it. True. That's why, for example, we follow socialites so much, because they sell you that lifestyle that you can actually look like me. The pastor is selling you the lifestyle that you can drive a car like me. You go to these meetings of daughters of I don't know where. You are told, oh, you will become a daughter of this and this if only you tithe. And that's
you also have daughters of Mulembe. Even daughters of Mulembe.
You are also told sisters.
Let me finish. I think that we need proper regulations. Number one, on the mushrooming of churches. Number two, on the qualifications of these people who are calling themselves the leaders of these churches. Number four, on questions of tithing. It is so unfortunate when you hear you've heard stories of some churches in Kenya, I will not mention names, of people who have been defrauded property. And you see, at the end of the day, the law, for some reason, doesn't touch on religion. But we need to get to a point where we actually realize that the law needs to operate even within religion. Because religion, by the way, hakuna mtu mwenye hold. Nobody holds the monopoly of what religion should be or should not be. And no one should ever make you feel intimidated simply because, this statement we keep saying, touch not the anointed one. My friend, how sure am I that you're not even anointed, that you're anointed or truly not anointed? That is why, Mimi, when I see a pastor doing the wrong thing, I promise you that statement of touch not the anointed one never applies to me, because at the end of the day, somebody has suffered because of your actions, and the state needs to come up with a law. If they cannot come up with a law, we who are getting into bunge, sisi wenye tunaingia watu wa Vihiga County, kitaumana after ile bill yangu ya kwanza ya protect, me, I already told you, after my first bill of protecting the interests of the service, the Abaluya people who are in the service industry, watchmen, house helps, to ensure that and I will demystify that, after having passed that legislation, the next one I'm coming up with
ni ya
mapasta na makanisa.
Wait. Hata makanisa.
Let me tell you. After government exploitation of the citizen of Kenya, the next big unit that exploits Kenyan is a church.
The church.
Okay.
That is a fact. That is why personally, I pride myself being a follower of the Kenya Assemblies of God, where you cannot be licensed to be a pastor if you have not gone through a theological school. You cannot be. It doesn't matter whether you preach and flames of fire come down. As long as you are not, you have not gone
Elijah walienda shule wapi ya kusoma theology?
Nani?
kina Elijah wenye walikuwa wanaitisha moto kutoka mbinguni.
No, let me tell you Bitok.
They were the sat
Paulo.
but you know they used to sit under teachers.
Yes, they were taught.
They used to be
Kina
taught
Paulo.
by the Sanhedrins and
Yes.
what were their names? Sanhedrins and something.
Yes.
Who taught the
Yes.
Sanhedrins?
Today,
Everybody used to be taught.
yeah, today.
Haya,
Some
basi
of the
tusonge
most
kwa kanisa.
educated people back in the days were the Jews.
Yes.
They were seriously educated. They were seriously teaching doctrinal things. You remember during the time of Jesus, there was controversy about the doctrinal approach by Jesus Christ as he was doing his work.
But is
on
the
this
gospel
earth.
is the gospel literature or it is a calling?
Let me tell you, it is both.
It is both literature and a
It's
calling.
both literature and a calling. If you have a calling, you must place that according based on the knowledge. You cannot apply, you cannot preach well if you do not apply the necessary knowledge. You don't apply the necessary doctrine. So I think they are what we call, if you are a student of theology, there are things you call preaching homiletics. And preaching homiletics is what dictates whether you are preaching sound gospel or sound doctrine. And now I'm speaking from a point of being a bishop's kid. You try to understand those things.
Nimeona haya Ndhumbi, Pastor Ndhumbi, nimeona kanisa imesemekana leo, tafadhali utatuambia ni nini na itakuwa vipi?
Tunataka kujua qualification zako.
Mzekoroka Ndhumbi. Dennis Ndhumbi. Mzekoroka Dennis Ndhumbi ni pastor. Mzesumbuya Dennis Ndhumbi. Haya mambo mawili niliuliza jana. You know, there's something that happens in church and Christianity and Christians. Gatherings of Christians. Muchendu anakuja anasema jina langu ni Peter Muchendu, nimeokoka na Yesu ni Bwana. Ruth Ambogo anakuja, jina langu ni Ruth Ambogo, nimeokoka na Yesu ni Bwana. Mimi nakuja Gerald Bitok, nimeokoka na Yesu ni Bwana. Is it always an issue of conviction, habit or procedure?
You know,
Mtu anasemanga kwa roho ama inakuanga tu?
when you're talking about being born again, it has to be a personal conviction.
Yes.
But unfortunately, so being born again has become like the new lifestyle today. That Ambogo hapa akienda ingie katika dini ya Musambwa.
Yes.
Anaanza kuongea what they talk about.
Yes.
That is why unasikia watu siku hizi mwanasiasa akisimama, Bwana asifiwe, unenewa Yesu roka, you know, the whatever. Yes, unaziwa hallelujah, you know, wale wakolino wanasemanga hivi, praise Jesus.
Depending on where you are, by the way, which church you are in.
Wale hamuedi kanisa mliega, you know. So no, I'm being honest.
Yes,
I'm being honest.
Yes.
So being in church has become a lifestyle that if you go to the Catholics, you want to do what they do so that you can associate and you know, line with them. If you come to Pentecostals where we come, unasikia amekuja to God is good, and all the time you want to identify. So these things have actually made the issue of being born again look like a joke. But I'm one person who believes that being born again is a personal conviction. It is not something that Bitok can seriously 100% ascertain. Yes. Not even your pastor can ascertain.
Yes.
It's a personal conviction.
Yes.
Now that personal conviction also is evidence in how you talk, in how you behave yourself. But then we are also very conscious of the pretentiousness of people.
Yes.
That they can look good in the outward, but what you do at night we don't know.
Mambo ingine.
Anyway,
basi asante sana.
Religion ni ngumu.
Mimi kama Gerald Bitok, I tithe out of principle.
Yes.
I offer offerings out of principle.
Yes.
I tithe, by the way. I believe in the principle.
That is
of
That is awesome.
I believe, but not because I've been told. That
You're coerced.
TV, at the final ndio.
No.
At the tithe ndio.
And you know, I'll also say,
I do. So
yes.
out of principle, disclaimer, I tithe out of principle. I give offerings out of
I
principle.
will also say this, Bitok.
Yes.
What is tithe? If you study the Bible, you tithe to that person who is your spiritual guide. You don't just tithe to anybody out there.
Yes.
If you are planting a seed, you plant a seed to that person who
is your spiritual guide and mentor. Like for me, Bitok, I'll be honest with you, I have a church that I go to. But I have a spiritual mentor, and I don't fear talking about him publicly. My spiritual mentor is called Reverend Ken Aringo. He presently pastors at Nairobi Chapel. But I don't go to Nairobi Chapel. I go to Parklands Baptist Church. Yeah. So my tithe, I don't tithe it at Parklands Baptist Church. I tithe my tithe at Reverend Ken Aringo. Because he is my spiritual guide, just as P. Muchendu has said. Vile governor amesema, I tithe to where my spiritual guidance comes from.
Okay.
That is what
Parklands
I do.
Unaendanga kupitisha wakati. Haya.
Si kupitisha wakati. Parklands naendanga kuomba, natoa sadaka, lakini unajua sadaka na tithe ni different. Ile sadaka ya kutoa sadaka natoa.
Lakini tithe unapeleka huko kwa Aringo.
Yes.
Haya Aringo mtoto wako amedeclare.
I must also say that men of God must be respected.
Yes.
My father being one of them.
Yeah.
You know the Bible says that when you take your offering to when Jews were being commanded to take their offerings to the temple, the God commanded that once you take these things there, what do we call the Levites?
Yes.
The Levites were supposed to eat and have their stomach filled.
Yes.
And whatever remains is shared with the less fortunate.
Yes.
Okay.
It is the reasoning where you have seen the mainstream and major churches come, they are the biggest charity organizations.
That's true.
Because they are supposed to immediately
Feed the
they have
society.
fed the Levites who are in charge of the church.
They
The
feed the
remains are
society.
not supposed to enrich themselves with.
Okay.
They are supposed to feed the
Haya.
society.
Leona
Yes.
Terem all the way from Sydney, Australia. Asante sana nimekuona Anton Feed all the way from
Watu
watu wa
Kama
Doha.
pastor
Sana Dennis Ndumbi amekuja.
amejibu by the way, amesema mambo na kukua pastor sio lazima ikuwe na
iko na
hiyo
maliterature na masomo. Haya, nitachesira good morning tuko
Uzumbe
ndani kabisa
amesema.
asante.
amesema
Sharon Shani anasema I miss Mama County Viga Gotea Mali Safi Vestas Mateso. Ya pole sana Mateso. Anasema niko hapa Ruaka kumenyesha all the animals. Nikubaya leo Nairobi kunanyesha. Naona Isaac Kabur anasema good morning Gerald from Royal Hobbit. Asante sana to Eldoret Royal Hobbit. Abu Limo Kirwa Abraham from Kaptagar asante sana. Haudi Pombe Kapop sama tuned in from Lolongo kama kawa asante sana to Lolongo wazee hata no amuganeza. Naona mamsha chepoje kwa msema watu wa county 045 Kisii County asante Utawala MCA Utawala anasema Daisy Martinez tuko ndani kabisa Rono Kipchumba Cornelia so greetings to my loyal friend Ruth Ambogo asante sana Rono Cornelia Fred Hagan General good morning watching from Ghana. Good to see you, thank you so much Fred Hagan all the way from Ghana. I really appreciate you. Thank you guys from Ghana, from Zambia, from Malawi and from South Africa. It's great to have you. Darius Masai naona Kenya nowadays are smart. They have say I have mama stop loan in Kenya. Haya. Jakama senior good morning as born Ansen Wheeler good conversation Salimia Ruth Ambogo. Moriango Kanyanya Vincent.
huyo ni mentor. Hesbon ni
Esbo ni
mentor.
menza wako. Haya. Kanyanya Vincent morning to you Gerald and our panel tuned in from Doha. Rebuke IMF loans. Governor Nick and Cheriot from Kericho Little enjoying the show. Big up to you guys, but if you pass near Unye tell him we need no more loans. Punda ameshoka. Loshamroti Junior following the show live from Nairobi tuko pamoja. Gerald Sante Pauline Cheraba Cult Ibrahim Waweru Mr. Bitok salute Governor P. Muchendu amesalimika hana Kirungu tuko hapa IMF tunangoja wafungue Ayo Kenya. Wali jana wanasema obsession because of poverty. Doro Elios anasema Mluya by association nilisomea Western. Nakuona nimeona niliona.
Kila mtu anataka kuwa Mluya.
Ndio naona Grace Maura anasema next time vae mask tuko kuna kitu inaitwa social distance iko hapa. Imo good morning Governor P. Muchendu says the truth about religion the things some pastors do. Dennis Ndumbi pastor amefika amesema let's revert back to other things. Tithing and giving our personal spiritual revelations are not law and it's true that we need to get back to the true faith of Jesus Christ that is devoid of personality, cultic worship, but is deep in the ordinance of God. Now no one can worship God for you, but servants of God should show the right way, and everyone has responsibility to discern the right way. Personally, carry on cross. Haya! Makofi sana kwa Pastor Dennis Ndumbi. Amesema kila mtu ajipeleke kwa msalaba, ajipeleke huko Golgotha, Calvary.
And I will also say this, Ambogo.
Yes.
Tafadhali, if you go to Parkland Baptist,
Nipeleke tithe huko.
please take it there.
No, you see what I'm saying.
Listen.
Yes.
Haya wameshasema mambo ya kanisa tusirudi hapo. Tutasema mpaka jioni.
Utaniambia
Jackie alikuwa anasema ambie mheshimiwa atembee ghetto
tukimaliza
aone mavijana wanapanda mbegu charge kwa waganga na betting. Haya. Ni just Murian anasema good morning Arabi toka Ndethima. Asante sana see you all the way from Diani. Jakama senior mimi pesa yangu I buy food and give the needy families. Church pastors are robbers. Muso JB anasema tuko pamoja. Nelson Cheps anasema proud as Dennis Ndumbi if you don't give to the church you are still in the betting. Slay queens, alcoholism, and such. Seed time and harvest time will never cease. Give out of the leading of the Holy Spirit. But to be talk, moderate the conversation is becoming a bashing session. You can't regulate charge depending as you. Haya, acha mimi ni bishop mkubwa. Ndio maana nimesema acha tuangalie maneno. Nelchera Murray, Ruth Ambogo will start with your church. Haya, Jackie Egon anasema I think we need to try and find out origins of some of called churches. Greedy people run away from the pastors to open their own parallel churches. That's very sad actually. Mtu kwa sana pastor anaenda na funguo yake. Haya, Karoki wajenza these churches are funny names. I'm proud Presbyterian. Victor Kigan from Nakuru watching live from Nakuru. Please be talk and panelists. You are discussing serious issues today. Some churches must be closed kabisa. Madai Aramanene anasema Miri wa Kimani ameamwisha. Asante sana Antomide. They follow all the measures before the show. Asante sana Antomide. We appreciate. Dennis Numi asema there are laws regulating the opening and operation of churches and no one pushes to any church. Haya, yes, anasema wewe kuja tunakungoja. Asante sana kaka Festus Mateso. We also need to read the holy book too. We shouldn't wait to be told what to do when the Bible clearly tells us what to do. Recently I learned that giving kitu kidogo to a cop to be released when it's a mess is actually not wrong. It's biblical. Check this first to confirm. Matthew 5 verse 25. Inasema, settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together. On the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge. And the judge may hand you over to the officer and you may be thrown into prison. Hey. Kumbe kufinya Kenyatta kwa mkono kwa Biblia. Then it's nimesema Muchendu Theological School has nothing to do with pastoral. Come on. Haya. Antomina sama you have to apply the knowledge pass. Yes, Santa Geoffrey Gikemisto. There existed theological schools called rabbinical schools. Then Gerald and Jesus himself took the disciples through some discipleship. Wow, interesting. Classes by taking them around with him, praying and fasting with them. No school, no platform to charge people. Haya. Cyrus Kwensama is being honest. Then it's Muchendu being a pastor kid is in the curriculum of the theological college. Don't belittle the true calling of God. God doesn't call. Muchendu, being a pastor's kid is in the curriculum of which the theological college. Don't belittle the true calling of God. God doesn't call the qualified or through the graduation parades of colleges. And don't say, Gerald, you are a pastor too. Mimi pastor bwana.
Wewe pastor mkubwa hawajui.
Mwana naweza ita moto hapa, inaweza kwa shida sana. Sitaki kuita leo.
God forbid. You remember those days in the 90s?
Naanza kufanya live service.
Unaona ile days in the 90s when media was gagged, when media was gagged from talking about political issues.
Yes.
Kukienda hivyo, wewe fungua tu kanisa hapa. Kufungua tu kanisa hapa.
Some of us, me and Abongo here, we are not authorities when it comes to matter religion.
So don't take them seriously.
We are just giving our own opinion.
Personal opinion.
But
yes,
just to be clear and because this is a discussion that the TACO must have.
Yes.
If you can get people who have a command and authority in matters religion, let's discuss this.
Yes.
Let's because there are serious issues in people's lives.
So here
next
week you want to see
I can bring Reverend
Dumbi, please.
and Reverend
I know Dumbi. I know he is understanding, but I will also say this to Dumbi, that as much as I cannot sit here and talk authoritatively about matters of religion, I know if you are called today, and you want to deal with the educated of this republic, you have to come to a certain level where your understanding and your congregants is almost as par. So you cannot just tarnish the matters of education and understanding theology. It is why Zombe is doing what he is, because he is educated.
Yes.
He is able to articulate issues.
Yes.
So if he is telling me that you cannot, let's see Zombe being read by a pastor who is a class 2 dropout. Let's see him
how
do
it. How will
anyway, I don't want to go back to the subject. But please have him in the show next
weekend.
Next week, yes.
In his defense, amesema tumtafute tukunywe chai.
Hata tukitoka hapa unaweza nunua chai. We can take you.
Sisi hatukunywangi chai ndogo.
We do 3-star kwenda juu.
No, 5-star. Me I don't.
You don't want. Ukisema 5-star, you will limit the circle of who can buy you coffee.
Nataka kumaliza ile time tena. Haya. Hata Joseph anasema hala. Leo ni kubaya. Sasa bwana Peter Abukara anasema your tithe goes to your current pastor. Ruth Ambogo is wrong. Haya. Ule mwenye anakulea saa hiyo ndiye inasemekana ndiye anafaa kukula tithe yako. Umesikia Ambogo?
Haya, nimesikia.
Nimeona Nels Chesmo anasema Gerald you can be a good preacher. Mimi ni mnoma. Uliza watu ambao wananijua. Mimi nilianza kufunza Sunday school. Kidogo nikaenda nilikuwa naangusha watu huko Mombasa. Sasa mkicheza na mimi naweza ita moto. Haya. David Mutira anasema Dubai wako ndani. Asante. Sesebo Pastor Abubakar anasema Honorable Ambogo you must take your tithe where you fellowship not your mentor who is elsewhere. Frank Betro falling from Cape Town, South Africa. Thank you so much all the guys from South Africa. I really appreciate you. David Kamo, good morning. Better late than never. It's another day to make a difference in our life. Thank you so much, David Kamo. You're most welcome. Jackie Agon, Madam Ambogo is just moved to Ken Aringo's church. Your spiritual guide is not necessarily an individual, but the entire church institution.
I will move. I'm moving to Nairobi Chapel very soon.
Anasema falling from Kutus. Asante watu wa Kutus. Governor P. Muchendu, I died in my own church. Haya, KHG. Anasema grow through where you choose to tithe. Iram Cheriat Katam, to a KDF. Anasema following closely to Honorable Aringo. I think Aringo, anaitwa Ambogo. I think it's wrong to contribute your offerings everywhere and your tithes elsewhere. They should all contribute to the church she worships.
Old time religion,
Devin Theo sama my brother Muchendu and sister Ambogo, let's have tea soon. Usinyime Parklands tithe.
Reverend Ambrose akilisikia.
I think Reverend Ambrose should just suspend her from church.
The church. Oh my God.
Because let me like I'm not a member of the Nairobi Parklands Baptist.
But you are recommending suspension of Ambogo.
No, yeah, but the senior pastor of the church,
Reverend Ambrose,
is one of the few characters that I know that teach sound religion and religion.
Sound, very sound.
The reverend, there is the overseer of the Nairobi Pentecostal Church, Reverend Caristo.
I don't know if you know this reverend called also Reverend Tom Otieno.
Yes, even Tom Otieno
is Ken Aringo's spiritual dad.
So these are the people. I am proud of my bishop, Reverend Philip Kitoto, who is not just.
I was in ICC.
Philip Kitoto is the one who writes for
the Daily Nation. Let me tell you, that man
owes
his wisdom when it comes to relationships and sustainable marriages.
Yes,
he
ICC.
teaches sound doctrine.
Yes.
He is. I mean, he has been the senior pastor of the International Christian Center
for
one of
many
the
years. The one in Nairobi West.
Christian excellence that portrays excellence in Christianity.
Yes.
So,
but there's also the evangelical one. Huyu baba ya Joy Medieval.
Yes.
Wanaitwa Musinde or
Masinde.
JB Masinde.
Yes.
You know, you look at all those people. So I have a
Okinde. Okinde is also very sober.
Yes, and you know, let me tell you.
Oginde,
let me tell you something about churches like Sitam.
Yeah, the foundation.
The foundation.
Yes.
Even how they easily transfer leadership of the church.
Oh my!
Tells you
it
that
so
the doctrine they teach is so proper.
Yeah.
Like look at Oginde.
The other one,
Oginde has just left the leadership of Sitam at relatively, I will say relatively young.
During COVID, and it was during COVID.
And passed
it. I'm too young to retire.
Passed it to another serious guy called Caristo. So. Even how you read the church.
Oginde did not say he's too young to retire.
No, he did not.
He did not.
Where kulikuwa na another church.
It's also like, look at Reverend Arthur Kitonga.
There is a church in Western, sita mention majina.
Yes.
When the leadership was changing, zile vita zilikuwa kwa hiyo kanisa. The churches were burnt down.
You know, let me tell you.
The church was burnt down.
Talk as we have said, even how you govern, the governance structure of a church will also tell you whether that church is a serious church
or not.
And all those things. So I think for me is my sister here.
I've learned.
Please,
suspend.
No suspend.
Before we write a letter for your suspension.
I'm just saying that
I am still young in religion.
You are a follower of Parkland Baptist that is under the able leadership
of Reverend Ambrose.
Yes. One of the best. So I don't see, as whoever has wrote there, I don't see why you should tie there elsewhere.
No, I will move to Nairobi Chapel.
Now that's better.
I will move to Nairobi Chapel because I want to serve in the youth ministry.
So I'll be there to receive your title.
Over and above politics. By the way, we talk. Ilea anasema is good in music and music systems. I'm a worshipper, by the way.
Haya.
Mimi ni worship leader,
my friend.
Kuruka, I'm a worship leader. Inakwanga tu mzuri time yenye sauti kama sijaingia kwa sasa nimeongea sana. I'm a very good worship leader. I'm a very good teens church coordinator. And Kenaringo right now at Nairobi Chapel is the one who is leading the teens church. In fact, I had spoken to him. From last year I was to move to Nairobi Chapel, but unajua COVID ilifanyika ya. I've done a few services with him at Nairobi Chapel. So we spoke that I need to go back to just that church so that I can assist with mentoring the teenagers, yeah? And just so that I can speak about, for me, my spiritual journey in Nairobi especially. My foundation is Friends Church, which is also a very solid church. Foundation yangu, I'm a Quaker. I'm a Quaker lady or a Quaker, I'm a USFW lady by faith. Friends Church is my foundation, yeah, faith. But when I came to Nairobi, when I went to my mom's church is Full Gospel Churches of Kenya, which is also another church with a proper foundation. Then now when I came to Nairobi, nikienda high school, the church I went to was Sitam. Na nilianza na Sitam iya hapa. Not Woodley. This Sitam, what is it called? Ya Uginde. The main Sitam. Valley Road. Then I moved to Sitam Woodley because I was now living with my auntie. This Woodley that you are seeing, Sitam hapa tu karibu na hii studio yetu. Then after Sitam Woodley, I left and I went to, when I moved now to campus, I now went to ICC, Philip Kitoto, as you have mentioned, another good church with a very good foundation. Then after I moved again to around Westlands, I now started going to Parklands Baptist. So nimezunguka, but the churches I have been to, the churches I have been to are churches with very good, solid foundation, as you have mentioned. But now with Reverend Kenaringo, he had started a program, teens mentorship program, right out of ex-candidates mentorship program that was called CHOPS, Commissioned Hearts on Priestly Service. Then it was under a bigger umbrella called PhD Ministries, Preserving Human Dignity Ministries. So what would happen is right after Form 4, you would sign up, not really sign up at paying for it per se, apana, but you would join the program. It used to be run here at Daystar. Daystar tu enyiko hapa tu. So we used to run, the program used to be run at Daystar. It was a 1-year mentorship program where he would bridge the gap between you leaving high school and joining university, so preparing you for that. And there were years and years of people who had graduated who would now become our mentors. When results for Form 4 would come, you'd be psychologically prepared for them. You are taken to a hike. Wale wenye wanafeel ni kama wamepita, wenye wanafeel ni kama wamepita, they celebrate. Wenye wanaona wameanguka, wanatrainiwa, and they're being mentored by guys who have been through this system before, who have failed before and proving to them. And you know, the thing is not failing kwa ubaya, but who did not attain the marks they expected to attain, and showing them that, look, in my case CSC, I probably wanted to get a B, but I got a D, but look at my life right now. Niko hapa. And that encouragement is what got me through life, you know. And he's been a mentor, and a very good mentor for that matter. He's a counselor. He does marriage counseling, youth counseling, and now sisi sasa vile mmeniambia title lazima nitoe kwa kanisa naenda. Mimi sasa as of next Sunday narudi Nairobi Chapel. Haya. I'll be there to receive your title. Naona sebo anasema yours. And we should one time invite Kenaringo hapa. Sasa tusonge sasa, kanisa tumefunga kwa sababu hawajanilipa ya marketing majama. Hilary Kimtai anasema we need you back in the show, bro. Karibu sana Dennis Ndumbi, karibu Wednesday. Kujiongea na watu kama nimesema everything to do with church offering I do it in my church. Haya, Kim Simeon watching you very loud and clear. Thank you. Good to see you Ruth Ambogo. Nimesikia tukuje chai soon, mnifunze maneno ya Mungu. Elvis KW some following sable substantial indeed. Simon Saimo, I guess kuna kitu dada amepata huko kwa Ringo. Investigate. Kibrati Koromicha there from Nakuru. Good morning. Aisha watching live from Nakuru CBD. Great show. Asante sana. Kibrati Koromicha. Pauline Cherop anasema sida mi sound. Anasema tuachie AIC na AGC peke yake. Hizi zingine is a no. Hata mimi ni mimi ni bishop wa AIC Kenya. Niko pale. Anton Mira just mentioned PAG. We know. Haya. Please stop interruption each other. It sounds noisy. Haya. Santa sana. Ruth amesema Ruth is a church tanga. Haya. Dennis Dumi. Humanity and eloquence are not equal to the anointing. Kona use a donkey to minister. The foolish things of this world are subject to the God's power. Even prostitutes are in God's lineup. Let's not get too caught up with the earthly qualities. The church is not a lecture hall. You don't need a degree to operate the supernatural. You need God. Education was created by the fallen
Athens. That is why professionals are thugs in government. Jagiagon, my pastor, Reverend Kanathone Funana, teaches sound doctrines. They are authentic men and women of God out here. Let us not condemn the entire church because a few fallen believers. That's true. Seba Pastor and Samakena Ringo has taken the day. She'll be better places there. Hamukala. Wewe. Haya. Durudi kwa Ringo. Teacher Edwin Ogogo sema hello logged in General Bitoka ambia Madam Ambogo anipigi. Haya. Bit phone for Edwin Ogogo. Haya.
I will.
Tuangalie tukimbie kwenye magazeti.
Sasa tuongea about
Mada kwa siasa. Siku ya siasa. Haya, tuende kwa magazeti. Naona People Daily inasema IMF reaffirms Kenya shillings 255 billion loan amid protest. Speaking out, more than 200 Kenyans expressed reservations about latest deal, even as experts differ on wisdom of borrowing more when countries struggling with huge debt burden. Some of the post, IMF, we Kenyans are tired. We are already overburdened with loans that we have never benefited from. For our future sake, no more, please. Pensive face higher. All I know is I'm not an economist and I don't know anything economist, but all I can say is these loans are not making any sense. And Jerry Waridi, it's reckless, insensitive, irresponsible for the IMF news, IMF to loan Kenya and other African countries. Mudhuri Kigano, J-Elect Chairman, Nagongo, naona MP split on final BBI report. Co-chairs are reading from different script on a meeting to discuss final report before tabling it. Suluhu seeks solution to Tanzania's COVID. New president orders formation of task force to evaluate state of the coronavirus pandemic in the country and advise on how to tackle the deadly disease. Haya, in mambo ya Tanzania, finally Suluhu amekubali ya kwamba kuna COVID-19 pale Tanzania. Amesema na form.
There are two things that President Suluhu has done that ailing this republic, and I must say I was one of the people who are very skeptical of how she's gonna walk in Maguvuli's shoes. There are two things that ailing this republic that she has addressed as her first issues in government as a president. One, it is about the tax regime. Widening the net of tax correction in the Republic of Tanzania. She questioned why the local government ministry of the Republic of Tanzania
are operating like thugs when correcting tax.
Yes.
Why can't they widen the burden? Because she was giving a very good example that you find someone who has invested millions of shillings.
Yes.
You claim she or he has failed to pay tax.
Yes.
You close the business and you take up the properties.
Yes.
Are you helping Tanzania or are you shortening or narrowing the net of correcting revenue? So he asked the revenue officers not to use punitive measures
when
to
dealing
correct
with defaulters of tax.
It is, you have to sit down with those business people because we don't want those business people to cross business.
Yes.
But you also want them to pay. So be very cautious in how you deal with them.
Because
that way you are going to actually widen the tax net for the republic, and hence for the correct more money to be able to do more projects. That is point number one. That is a problem that is ailing this nation. Look at how county governments are being.
Look at how Keroche was handled.
Look at how both the national and the county government are operating.
Handling business.
In Kiambu County, where I come from, you find that the Land Rovers are carrying some ropes that if you have not paid, they will go. There is one case I'll look for that video and give you, I think in Roiro. They tie that rope into a rental concrete.
Yes.
And then they pull it down.
Yes.
Now, have you helped that person or have you taken that person 10 steps
backwards?
So that's a problem that is ailing this republic, that the president and the governors have refused to take it head on.
Yes.
Point number two. It is about the 30% ownership of foreign investors. And that was yesterday when Suluhu was addressing the investment unit of the government. He was asking, Abongo comes from Rwanda and he comes to Kenya and she wants to invest 100 million. And you insist that she must give 30% to a Tanzanian. And the president was asking, the person who is carrying the vision of starting a company is Abongo.
Yes.
She is the one putting the money. Why are you forcing her
Yes.
to come and give 30% to a Tanzanian who has no idea,
no vision.
has no vision, does not have money, why must that Tanzania become a part owner of that business?
Yes.
And she issued an executive order yesterday
Yes.
that if today Muchendu I walk to Tanzania, I'll be talking, I'm thinking about it actually.
Me too.
I will go and invest my 100% investment without involving anybody. If I involve a Tanzanian, it will be because I want to.
Yes.
Not because
It is not
something-
because they are
someone
rules.
is forcing
Today
you to
in the Republic of Kenya, if you are a foreigner and you want to start a business,
my goodness.
that 30%
Look at what
of
happened
that
to the betting
business,
companies.
yes, 30% of that business will become owned by a Kenyan.
Yes.
Not even a Kenyan
Not a
politician.
Kenyan,
The political
politicians.
class.
Brokers.
That is why we
Very
have
serious
some serious
brokers.
Jubilee politicians
The
who are
dealers.
shouting all over.
Yes.
They have briefcase companies and they are the holders of those 30%.
Yes.
One of the things that made people like Dangote not invest in this republic and
Because
they
of
want because of shit like
Yes,
that.
yes,
Why
yes.
must I
Go
Dangote
through
who has
20
made
people.
his billions
Yes.
hustling?
It was the cement company,
At
right?
yes, it's a cement company. Come and give Bitok 30% because at times what happens is this Ambogo.
Yes.
Those you don't have Kenyans who have 30% to invest on foreigners. So what you do first, you'll first of all transfer the shareholdings of your company
To a Kenyan.
to a Kenyan.
That's what they do.
30%.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yes.
That is what has made some politicians
Very
very
rich.
rich today.
Yes, yes.
So therefore, 30% of your investment, first of all, it has gone to waste.
Yes.
Because you have to give it to a Kenyan.
And someone who probably has zero vision
Yes.
about your business.
Let me tell you.
Aelewi biashara yako ni nini.
Let me tell you.
And they've just
The reason-
threatened you.
Yes.
And over and above the 30% shares, Governor, you're forgetting.
Yes.
Washaku threaten vile, Kenya is like this, Kenya is like that. If you don't give me money, over and above the 30% shares, you still need money from them. The Kenyan will
Yes.
still demand for money from them.
For you to
And
okay.
constant threats.
I'll tell you why
Yes.
I up today as even if people say that Kagame is a dictator from Rwanda.
Yes.
He's one person I would refer to as a benevolent dictator because today we talk. If you land in the Kigali airport, you don't need to leave the airport without a registered company. Within 3 hours, if you run to Rwanda, you have a registered and an operating company in Rwanda.
Yes.
That is why the economy of Rwanda is booming. And in the next 5 years, we shall be watching Rwanda ahead of us.
Okay.
So, I think for me, if the president has ordered a task force on coronavirus, I think this Rede is going to stamp an authority in the United Republic of Tanzania. Remember, she is not from the mainland. She is from Zanzibar. Yes. Number 2, she has brought 2 facts with her presidency. 1, she is the first Muslim to rule Tanzania as a president.
Not even Tanzania.
Yes.
I'm thinking she's the second Muslim.
Yes.
After the second Muslim president.
Yes.
After the one who a terrorist attack hit their country. What's her name? Jahindra. The one who stood up and during the terrorist attack. Turkey. Was it Turkey or what?
I think it's Turkey.
Turkey.
And then she's the first person from Zanzibar to be rule both Tanzania and Zanzibar together. So I think she's going to stamp her authority, and I think the deep state of Tanzania is getting a rude shock because they thought they would put yes. Yes.
And I think the recommendations by President Suluhu on taxation, expanding the tax bracket, is exactly what Kibaki did. And I think that's what Uhuru Kenyatta is doing differently. Because the more we keep burdening existing tax accounts, is the more we burden the country. Because if I'm operating a business, an hardware shop today, and you keep taxing me, but you're not trying to find out what Muchendu is doing.
An online, maybe makeup artist is
so
earning a lot of money.
We need to expand the tax bracket more than continue to burdening the same accounts. I don't know what views you have on the same solutions by
I
Suluhu.
feel like you should have actually started with me. Why? Because Suluhu is a woman. And Suluhu has proven to the world in less than 100 days the power of a president who is a woman. What a woman president can deliver for a country. And you see, the reason why women have been fighting for their space in leadership, and I hope Kenyans are listening to me today very keenly, is because when you have a woman in leadership, whatever position of leadership, the woman will always think about the most critical concerns of mwananchi. Let me tell you why, for instance, Kenya fought for this 2/3 gender principle to be implemented and is still fighting for it, and why we fought for the positions of women representatives to be included. We are not saying that men are bad leaders, but what we are saying is that when men sit on a table discussing issues affecting society, they will tend to focus on the technical issues of how much money should go to the counties, how much money should go where should we get infrastructural development. But sometimes, and most of the times, they forget what is the common mwananchi feeling and thinking about. And this is what Suluhu has been able to prove in less than 30 days, 10 days, is it 10 or 15 days? In less than 15 days, this woman is proving to us that a woman in leadership is somebody who will sit down the same way she thinks about managing her own affairs. She doesn't even need to have a family. Because remember, it was said she's a third wife. She doesn't even need to be a first wife to somebody. The fact that she's a woman. You know, a woman wakes up and thinks about, for example, number one, with this 200 bob that I have, whether I am married or not, how will I allocate this 200 bob to ensure that I have breakfast, I have lunch, I have bundles or airtime for my day. At the end of the day, my nails are also done. That is a woman who thinks about managing her day-to-day life. Now imagine, put that woman in a position of leadership, and a serious position of leadership for that matter, the level of presidency. She will wake up in the morning, and the first thing she'll think about is her fellow woman, Mama Mboga, down there, who is suffering. When she talks about expanding the tax bracket, in her mind she's saying, I know that Mama Mboga is suffering due to the daily taxing that they have to pay to the local government. So if I expand my tax bracket to, for instance, capture the more high income earning people, or even more brackets of people that have not been taxed before, then I am lowering and lessening the burden of that Mama Mboga. Number two, this woman is proving to us, again, and I will always repeat it, that women can be silent, but in their silence, there is a lot of wisdom. Remember, nobody knew who this lady was until President Magufuli died. And that silence, in that silence, there's a lot of wisdom. I'm not saying that women who are loud as I am are not wise, but what I'm saying is that if you put me in a position of leadership, trust me, personally, I know myself, that there is a time I will keep quiet and I will think about the issues affecting my society. On to some of the changes she has been making and the issues she's been discussing, especially about taxation, onto the issues, basically how she's been running the country and some of the issues that Governor Muchendu has talked about. For instance, as she was mentioning, that, you know, handle persons who have defaulted tax with some care. Why was she saying that? And I replicate this with Kenya. When Keroche Breweries, Tabitha Karanja was being frustrated by government, whoever it was, I don't know whether it was government or it was brokers or whoever it was, when she was being frustrated over the millions and millions of money she owed in taxes, I came out very strongly on media, and this is what I had to say, Bitok and Muchendu. I said, you cannot frustrate somebody whose business is creating a lot of jobs for so many people. Do you know how many employees that woman has employed in that company? The number of families that are fed on a daily basis by virtue of being an employee of Keroche. Kuna wale wanakwanga kwa pipeline. There are those who are in the pipeline making sure that the pombe has been brewed. There are those who are washing the bottles. Even to the least of them all, the guards at those companies, to the least of them all, wale wa kuokota chupa kwa club. You know, once the bottles have been used kwa club, collecting them and taking them back to the company. Those are families that are being fed by this big business that you as a broker, because I don't really think it was the state per se, you as a broker would want to frustrate such a woman, and you're forgetting the number of livelihoods this woman is feeding. And by the way, I was told, I got credible information around that period of time, and I spoke to the daughter. What's her name? Annalisa Mungai. I remember I spoke to her online and I told her, I would passionately want to support your mom. And she actually responded. And for me, the issue was, around that period of time, by the way, that lady was being frustrated. Governor Sijui kama unajua, she was being frustrated because there was a foreign company that was coming to set up in Kenya. So the war was, fight Tabitha Karanja, make her business fall down so that this other company can be established. And who are those? Political brokers, as we have mentioned them. So how many and you know, when these foreign companies come, by the way, first thing you need to realize is that the top management will never be Kenyans. Sijui kama unajua hiyo? Top management will never be Kenyans. Top management ni foreigners. But somebody like Tabitha Karanja will ensure that within her management, she has Kenyans whose livelihoods will be fed. And not just, and you see, once you have a top manager as a Kenyan, you are not just feeding that one man's family or one woman's family. You're feeding a lot of other families that they support. Again, as I proceed to what Governor also mentioned, when he was talking about the ease of doing business, where you walk into countries like now Tanzania now is going to make it very easy for people to do business. In Kenya, for you to register a company, the amount of money you pay. But now I realize there's a task force that was put together, and this project was initiated the other day, less than 3 weeks ago, with the support of the embassy of the UK embassy, where they released a report on the ease of doing business. And my very good friend Akinyi Odongo, she's a stylist, she's a top designer, actually was telling me about the report that they launched, where they were trying to see, she was actually the head of that task force that was coming up with the ease of doing business, not just within the fashion industry, but generally. They want to improve the ease of doing business. In what sense? That by the time you're registering a company, how can we make it, first of all, cheaper for you? How do we ensure that the process, you are not going through a million tabs, clicking on so many tabs, you don't understand what shares are? How do we simplify the process for you so that you have registered your company in record time? Because remember, at the end of the day, without a company, it is very difficult to transact, and you will be downplaying yourself. And by the way, for me, what I would advise young people, register a business name. It costs you less than 1,000 bob to register a business name. Na hata ukienda to e-Citizen yourself, you will actually register that business name by yourself and for yourself. Register a company if you can. If you cannot do it on your own, get 5 or 10 friends. And I usually help people register companies. Reach out to me and ask me, Ruth Ambogo, tumeshikana na watu wawili watatu, help us register this company. Because mahali tunaenda bitok, without a company, without a business, you will gain very little for yourself as a young person, and you will be utapangwa.
Okay. Haya, kwenye magazeti pia there is a common headline about IMF loans. Finally, IMF imeweza kutoa mazungumzo ama imeweza kutoa mawasiliano kuhusu mkopo wa Kenya. There's given communication on IMF loan that Kenya is taking. Kenyans have continued to protest on the borrowing of the loan. What do you think is the state of our borrowing? And do we deserve another loan? Are Kenyans justified? Or the government
let me tell you, Kenyans are 100% justified to question why the government is taking the loan. Why? How do we pay our loans as a nation when we take them? Every loan we have, external loan we have, is paid from the consolidated fund. Where does the consolidated fund get its money from? Consolidated fund is fed off money from our taxes. Who are the people who pay those taxes? It is Kenyans who pay those taxes. We pay, do you know Kenyans pay about over 10 different taxes. You have the stamp duty, you have the income tax, you have the pay as you earn. There are so many types you do. You have excise duty and all those taxes. It is Kenyan who will pay for these loans. So when the president and his government goes ahead to negotiate a loan, by the way, have you seen what we are supposed to, the negotiation that went on in Washington, D.C., and what we are supposed to give up to get that loan? Have you seen the crazy things that... let me tell you, this is crazy. These guys are even telling us that we must restructure our top 2 universities if we are to get loans. It is true. It is true. No, the public. We are talking about the public universities. And I am one person who is so fed up with this nonsense. What exactly these people are asking? We are being asked that we must restructure our parastatus. And I said it here and I will repeat it again. Any restructuring of the parastatus, if it is going to happen as it is requested by the IMF, will result into over 79,000 of Kenyans losing their jobs. So when I say that we have, let me tell you, the IMF conditions on the Kenya shillings 250 billion loans are reform of state-owned enterprises. One of the top enterprises they have insisted must be reformed is Kenya Airways. Yes. Number 2, they have also...
But are they positive reforms or...
Let me tell you, whatever happens to Kenya Airways today for me is it's neither here nor there, because they have already destroyed the national carrier. But I am very much interested and wondering, Bitok, why IMF is insisting that we must also reform the Kenya Airport Authority. Kenya Airport Authority, the financial year, I don't know, it's not the
But
current
it's
one.
already under, it's a collateral in China.
Kenya Airport Authority is already, I don't remember which financial year recently, they made a profit of 16.5 billion shillings. So why it's being restructured, it's perplexing to me, knowing that there are individuals in this republic that wants to get their hold on the Kenya Airways land. And by the way, do Kenyans understand that the title deeds under which Jomo Kenyatta International Airport sits has corrected some loan with an individual in this republic? It is being held by a bank because somebody corrected a loan with it. They have requested that we must restructure the Kenya Railway Corporation. Kenya Railway Corporation is one of the corporations that we have undertaken a mega project that is not going to be profitable, that is not going to earn this republic money. They have demanded that we must restructure Kenya Power, we must structure Kengen, we must restructure the Kenya Port Authority, and we must restructure the 3 largest public universities in Kenya. Who are they? We have the Jomo Kenyatta, and you have Nairobi University, KU, and Jomo Kenyatta International University of Agriculture. They want to, you see, what I am trying to tell you, and people must understand, if we have agreed, the Kenya government negotiating team led by Ekuru Yetani, the finance minister, has agreed to this restructuring BITOC. It can only mean one thing. We cannot be asked to restructure these seriously well-established organizations, and we agree unless this economy is on a deathbed. It's true, listen. The only reason why we would agree to such restructuring for a tiny loan like 255 billion, it is only that we have no otherwise.
So if tomorrow we want another loan, we have to agree to terms of another person.
We will have to agree.
Okay.
Anytime you have seen an IMF go to a certain country, it is because that country has not been able to manage their to come up with better fiscal management.
Okay.
So let me tell you. Yes, hold your horses, Ambogo. You will have your say on the matter. I am simply saying 255 billion. What is that? What is the percentage of 255 billion in our budget? What is it? We are taking money. Do you know 255 billion is just simply, I think it's not even enough.
Our budget is 3 billion.
Yes.
3 trillion.
255 billion is actually short of 100 billion in terms of what the counties get.
Yeah.
So that tells you about the small significance of that particular amount
For us to accept
accept such terms. So it can only, even if they don't shout, it is true, our economy is on a deathbed, that an international monetary organization has to help us restructure. Now, this is what I'm saying. The mistakes this government has done must be rectified, yes. And they will not be rectified without loans. And by the way, IMF will not stop giving that loan to Kenya because we are petitioning. All what we are doing is that we are letting the IMF know that as Kenyans, we are not happy with how our economy is being managed. And subsequently, IMF is very sensitive to one thing. If you have gone through their history, they're very sensitive to what we call negative publicity. So that means any other negotiation they will do with Kenya, they will put account to the negative publicity Kenya has given IMF. So, and what I am telling Ambogo, as she doesn't, because she doesn't agree with me, it is very true. This government has made serious physical mistakes over the almost 10 years they have been in power. And the people who will feel the pain as we restructure these loans and as we rebuild our economy is the common mwananchi. Because the Kenya to survive, it has to continue. Yes, it has to continue taking loans, and we are taking loans to actually made mistakes made by this government.
Ruth.
Can I take it away?
Please.
I feel like Muchendu has seriously misled Kenyans, and allow me to set the record straight. This time around with facts and data. First of all, the Bretton Woods institutions, and these are World Bank and IMF, only lend loans to countries after having assessed their debt management level of a country. That how can this country be able to manage its debt?
Have they ever stopped giving anyone loans?
Just allow me to talk. Okay. Even before, personally, even in your own personal life, before you take a loan, you ask yourself, can I pay back this loan? And even before a lending institution lends you a loan, wewe mwenyewe kibinafsi, they ask you questions such as, what is the security for this loan that you're going to provide? They assess your ability to pay back this loan. So by the time IMF is lending money to a country, they have assessed the ability of that country to pay back that debt. And one thing we need to know is that IMF has indicators for when a country is in debt distress. The country is in debt distress when the debt to GDP ratio is at 77%. Debt to GDP ratio, when it is at 77%, then that country is in debt distress, and IMF and World Bank, the Bretton Woods institutions, cannot lend you money. But Kenya's debt to GDP ratio has been at 67% for the longest period of time, meaning that we can be trusted to pay back the money. The anger in Kenyans is not actually about the money, because one thing that Kenyans need to understand is that as our money and our financial, our resources have been structured in this country, our revenue collection systems, the way they have been structured in this country is not sustainable for us to run our economic affairs fully on taxes. We know, first of all, that during COVID, and we were so grateful to the president, the first time when lockdown came, and the president reduced taxes from 30% to 14%. So as it stands, and this was just reversed the other day, was it in January? When guys were coming into January into December. So we were already given a tax holiday from 30% to 14%. We celebrated. But what we didn't know is that at that particular point, our revenue collection actually went down, meaning that we do not have enough money within the government to sustain the projects that we are running as a country. What projects am I talking about? Infrastructural development
Why
projects.
do we need infrastructure during a pandemic?
Listen first. I should have started with the healthcare system, but there is an order to it. Infrastructural development projects, and I will give the importance of that. Second, healthcare projects that we are running as a country. And in fact, right now, when we are in COVID, healthcare is supposed to be our biggest priority right now. Higher. The welfare of the citizens. For me, those are the top priorities, because one would ask, why is infrastructural development important right now? And what they don't know is that at the end of the day, for you to do business easily, you need roads that can penetrate to your mashinani. For you to access that hospital easily, you are in mashinani, muko na barabara ambayo haijajengwa. Your relative will die on the road simply because you cannot access the road from kwako mpaka kwa hospitali. So in as much as we want to look down upon the value and the strength of infrastructural development projects, we forget that we need proper roads for business to move. We need proper roads for your healthcare system to survive. We need proper roads even for security. You know what happens in mashinani? Like, for example, me, in Vihiga County, I'll tell you for sure. Areas that do not have barabaras are the areas you hear in the morning, people were killed on this day. And it concerns me as a woman representative aspirant, because I tell myself that if those roads are not tarmacked, how many girls, for instance, on their way from school to home will be raped? How many women, for instance, on their way from Sokoni to Nyumbani Jioni will be waylaid along the barabara because there is no road and there is no lights, it's not secure. So infrastructural development projects are important, much as healthcare and the welfare of the people is important. Now, the question that Kenyans should be saying, what Kenyans should be saying is not, let us not be given the loan, because there is no country, and I repeat this and I will repeat it over and over, that even first world countries survive on debt. Why? Because taxes alone cannot sustain a country, and especially a country that really tried to assist its citizens by reducing the number of taxes we were paying last year up until early this year, when we realized we were not surviving. Kawaida, our economic growth rate was at 6%, but even with the reduced taxes, we actually had a 1% growth rate, meaning as a country, economically speaking, let us speak facts, we are actually doing much better than most countries during COVID. We must appreciate things for what they are. The mistake that is happening in our country, and the president outrightly said it, is that the money that comes, 2 billion of it is stolen every single day. So our anger should not be directed to the president. Our anger should be directed to who steals these 2 billion shillings.
But where is the president when
and
this money is being stolen?
Needs to, and by the way, let me tell you, they say the buck stops with the president. But don't forget that we have institutions that work to help the system work. Who should be telling us these answers? For example, the ODPP's office. I have not heard that gentleman speak for a long period of time. I am wondering, where is he? Before COVID, he was arresting people. Where is he right now?
As the president demanded they arrest these people.
Where is
because
he
if the
right
president,
now? The
if the
president does not need to demand for people to be arrested.
Let me ask you,
the
Ambogo.
mandate
There are
of
two
ODPP
questions.
and ESCC right now is by now we should be hearing investigations. And I know they're trying to do a good job because remember during COVID the last year, governors were being arrested who are corrupt. Wengine walitolewa kwa viti, kina Sonko wakaenda, kina Waititu wakaenda. Now we need to hear cases of these COVID billionaires ziko wapi. So our anger should not be directed at IMF. Our anger should not be directed at the president. Our anger should be directed at finding out.
questions I want to ask you, so that discussion is that discussion makes sense. I have two questions I want to ask you.
Yes.
You've said that Kenya,
Yes.
IMF has analyzed Kenya and have discovered that they have the ability to pay the loans.
Yes.
A couple of months ago, we renegotiated our loans
Yes.
to push ahead the payment terms because we are supposed to be servicing our loans. We requested that we want to push them ahead because we cannot pay. That's from Treasury. It's not from BRL Bitok. They renegotiated their loans to push it. Talk about infrastructure. And not to have a convention as Kenyans. SGR, since its inception, after cobbling up billions of money, has made losses all through. It has made losses all through. Let's talk about the welfare of the people you're talking about.
Yes.
The people that you're talking about are Kenyans like me and you, who are suffering. Yes. The people that are not getting any stipends from government.
Yes.
Right? Let's talk about the reason why we are borrowing the loans from IMF. They're saying we are borrowing to fight a pandemic. For all year, we've been borrowing money to fight a pandemic. Can you tell me, the healthcare sector, as we speak today, is still struggling? On the headlines of the headline of the Standard, KNH today has postponed. So, I mean, Ruth Ambogo, for once, let's have an honest conversation as Kenyans. Because, I mean, the intention why we run this conversation every morning is so that we can give Kenyans an opportunity to hear the things that they want to hear in its realist way, not any malice, not any lies involved. The truth is, every other thing that we've put in as a reason for borrowing money has never happened. A whole year, the only strategy we are giving is a lockdown. Yes. Not, we are talking about our healthcare system being overwhelmed. Yes. We borrowed billions of money.
But
where is the money? Where are we not saying, why are we not feeling it in the healthcare sector? We talk about KEMSA. The president himself promised that in 21 days, he'll be able to investigation will be done and those people will be arrested. All these things. Yes. I mean, if you have to have an honest conversation as Kenyans. Yes. I mean, I'm a tired Kenyan. I pay taxes. Yes. You know, we pay taxes. The other day, they started taxing us also on the digital platform. We're paying taxes as well at 16%. The thing is, Ruth, so I want you to other questions first. The renegotiation of debt. And Treasury, on that note, admitted that it's not able to pay its money. Yes. Infrastructure. There is no infrastructure that are taken off billions that is returning back money to Kenyans. Yes. The Kenyans are continuing to pay more money to service the government and also to service loans that are not being paid. We are not even servicing our loans. Yes. Number 3, the welfare of Kenyans you've mentioned. Yes. Which Kenyans are you talking about who have been taken care of by the government? Number 5, you've said the government is borrowing to take care of welfare of Kenyans. Number 4, okay, I'll give it back to you. I want you to take, if you had a pen, you could have written them down so you can answer them. 4, healthcare sector. You've said you're investing in the healthcare sector to protect Kenyans from COVID-19. Which healthcare sector?
Now, can I respond?
Yeah.
Can I respond?
Please.
I said that ideally the money that was being borrowed should have been to boost those sectors. But the truth of the matter is, Bitok, we also can't lie to ourselves that nothing has been done. What I don't like about our Kenyan mentality is to wake up every morning and say, absolutely nothing is working. Do you know countries, listen, Gerald Bitok, you know countries that things are not working. Like true or false? Country? You know countries where systems are broken down to the core. I'll give an example like Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, a country that went on its knees because of poor leadership. The fact that you and I, Bitok, can actually afford, personally myself, can afford to bring myself here using a car that I will fuel, Bitok, in itself is a sign that the country is working. The fact that you can afford this water, no, listen. The fact that we can afford this water and sit in this studio is a good sign. I'm saying it's a good sign that the economy is working. Our problem is this. Our big problem as a society is this. We don't like to, number one, say the truth. We like to see the problem and we never want to see the truth of what is happening. Truth of the matter is, there was kazi kwa vijana that was launched. True or false? Yes, there were issues, and those are the issues we should be talking about. There was kazi kwa vijana. Silisaidia vijana. Do you remember there were vijana who were just jobless and they were sweeping, and at the end of the day, oh, you have no idea. Trust me, the small things that we ignore, the vijana who are so grateful that kazi kwa vijana ilikuja, kazi kwa mtaa, ya kwenda kufagia barabara during COVID. I swear they would wake up in the morning and they know at the end of the day, hata kama ni 500 bob ni yangu. But what happened to kazi kwa mtaa? Crooks entered, and those crooks are people like me and you. We know that. Crooks are the politicians of this world. Crooks. And that is the questions. Those are the questions we should be asking. Those are the questions we should be asking. The president will not come to personally appoint you, Muchendu, to oversee the sweeping of roads in Ngong Road. He will not do that. The thing is, the questions we should be asking ourselves is, who is put at the helm of leadership? Let us not lie to ourselves that ati government has done nothing about, tusidanganyane na tuseme within the healthcare ati government has done nothing. Kwani hizi vaccines tunadungwa. Do you know Somalia? I have a friend of mine who recently went to Somalia because they had gone to vaccinate. They had gone to give vaccines to their employees in Somalia because Somalia hawana vaccines, my friend. So the truth of the matter is,
do you want to compare Kenya with Somalia?
I'm telling you, we are comparing ourselves with countries. There are other countries I might not know of that don't have vaccines. Sahi Magufuli, it took Magufuli's death for Suluhu to come up and now start talking about COVID measures. Meaning before that, they did not even think that. The truth of the matter is, we know the Tanzanian situation. They did not even care about their people. They did not care about their people. And the people who died were so many. So let's just be honest with ourselves, be talk when we are talking. Tusemange hapa ni kuzuri.
You've not answered my question.
I'm answering your questions.
You've not answered any more
I am
questions.
answering your questions. What I'm saying is this. Within the
Wait,
healthcare,
Muchendu, I'm waiting for her to
just
answer
allow
my
me to
questions.
answer.
Please answer my
Within the
questions.
healthcare system,
Yes.
there is some work that was done.
Which work?
But the truth is, the matter
Which
of the
work?
matter
Tell me
is,
which work. How many hospitals were built?
zingine
What bed
zililetwa.
capacity do we have?
Listen, Bitok, shida yako ni moja.
No,
Bitok.
you're not answering me.
Aki, when you give a chance to a host to a guest to talk, let them talk. Because let me
How
tell
do you to answer my questions, not to
Nataka
talk?
tunakujibu, and the problem with you is that you're badgering me with the questions, and so I cannot answer you properly.
Okay.
My
Answer me
answer
about
is this.
healthcare. Okay.
My answer is this. The healthcare sector, kuna vitu zimefanywa. Lakini
Kama gani?
pia ukweli ni kwamba kuna wizi imetendeka katika healthcare sector. Hiyo wizi ndio tunafaa tuulize president.
Ndio nimeuliza
hao
Ruth,
watu-
kama gani? Zile vitu mfanyika healthcare kama gani? Bed capacity niambie
we
imeongezwa
have
ngapi?
vaccines.
Bed
We have
vaccine
counties
ya
that
kitu
have
ya
increased their bed capacity. They had actually 3 governor summit, and they reported back to the president on counties zenye zilikuwa zime increase bed capacity. The ones that did not increase bed capacity is not the president's business. It is you, mwananchi, to ask your governor, when money was released for beds to bed capacity increasiwe, where did you take that money? A good example of a county I will mention is the one I come from, Vihiga County. Health workers, even before COVID, they have not been paid for 19 good months. That governor, what people should be asking him is not telling him otichilo tano tena. They should be questioning him and asking him, money meant for healthcare workers inaenda wapi? Hospital bed capacity, hakuna bed capacity. Yani COVID, mimi nakwambia sasa ikifika Vihiga County we are dying. And the worst part about it is that we have so many leaders, and by the way, in as much as the buck stops with the governor in Vihiga County, my questions are, what is the woman representative doing? Why isn't she questioning, number one, mbona hospital bed capacity haijaongezwa? Why the hospitals are at a pathetic state that they are? People are dying every day because they cannot access services at Mbale Hospital, they cannot access services at Mukumu Hospital, they cannot access services at Kaimosi Hospital, but the woman rep is silent. So some of these things we keep saying the president are questions we can resolve by asking our leaders, what have you done? Because money was actually released to counties. Governors wengine walikula hiyo pesa, so that is not the president's problem, but it is also the problem of ODPP and EACC to come and investigate and ask themselves that this governor mwenye alikula hiyo pesa akuje na akue accountable. And the lead, sisi wa Kenya, before we start complaining to the president, when we will be given another chance to vote, for example in Vihiga, I will be so surprised if people wake up in the morning and vote for Adagala, who has never woken up any day to question things such as maternity status za Vihiga County zinakaa aje. Why should women in this 21st century in 2021 die while giving birth? A woman rep who cannot ask the governor, mbona barabara za mashinani hazijajengwa, wanawake wanakufa kwa barabara wakienda kuzaa. A woman rep who cannot question the governor and tell the governor, I want security lights in every single ward. Because why? My girls are being raped, my women are being waylaid on the barabara. A woman rep who cannot question the leaders and ask every MP, what are you doing to ensure that youth have jobs so that they're not lying idle? So some of these questions we are asking are leadership questions that need leadership solutions, where when we get a chance to vote for leaders from the bottom to the top, because it is also an MCA problem. MCAs in Vihiga County, why aren't they questioning the governor on these critical issues?
Okay, the standard headlines.
Hold your horses.
I don't have horses.
You know, let me tell you, I have listened to my sister here speak and say how the economy has flourished. One thing I'll say, maybe me and her live in a different country where her own country, the economy is flourishing, while mine is going down. Are we trying to defend IMF?
We are not.
Are we trying to? Can I tell you? 2015, Bitok, we wanted a loan of 63 billion shillings from IMF. Let me tell you. Do you know why petroleum products started becoming costly in the Republic? It is IMF that forced this country to introduce what we call value-added tax on petroleum products.
Yes.
For government
to be able to pay back
yes,
the money.
for government to access the 63 billion shillings, we had to introduce value-added tax on petroleum product. Subsequently, this means that if I am using my vehicle, going from point A to point B has become costly. It is also affecting those people who actually use the public means. How did we do? Were we even able to pay these 63 billion shillings because we introduced value-added tax on petroleum product? No. We did not. Let me tell you. At the same time, Bitok, if you look at do you know there is what we call the capital gains tax? It was reintroduced again by IMF. Did you hear John Munyes the other day saying that we brace ourselves because petroleum products will become costly? They are not becoming costly because the world petroleum prices are rising. No, they are becoming costly because we are taking loans like IMF, which IMF is giving you money. And because you cannot manage your fiscal planning, you cannot manage your public debts. We have over 20 loans that have matured and we cannot pay. We are negotiating to move forward. They have decided we will give you our money, but we are going to tell you how you will repay your money because you are not in a position to pay back money lended by other institutions. So when my sister here is talking about health, let me tell you, my sister, I have worked in the Department of Health in the county, and I can tell you without blinking, health, Bitok, is a devolved function in the Republic of Kenya. But do you know how much money the Ministry of National Government, Minister of Health receives in the budgeting of this republic? It is receiving money that is over and above what the county government are given as equitable share. Why is this money still remaining within the national government? And when governors do not have enough money to actually deal with healthcare, you come here and you say that it is not the responsibility of the president, it is the responsibility of the governor. If people have stolen money, because if KEMSA money has been stolen, Bitok, yes. KEMSA is a government parastatal. The CEO, the chairman, and the board of KEMSA is picked by the Minister of Health. A Minister of Health who is hired by the president. So when you are telling me that I cannot ask the president, because Bitok, as the president waits for the culprits to be investigated, the first business as the chief executive officer of the republic is to fire these thugs. Why is it that we want to say that Mutahi Kagwe is clean and the ministry he is reading is dirty? Where did political responsibility go? Hold your horses. Listen, Ambogo, I kept quiet as you articulated your issues. Let me have my space to articulate mine. Now, look at the head of enforcement in Kisumu County, that Mzee. You remember there was an incident with enforcement officers? Yes. That guy has shown what democracy is all about. Political responsibility. When you are given a responsibility as a cabinet minister and there is corruption under you, you should be taken home. Today, the former cabinet minister for finance, Bitok, why is he home? Henry Rotich. It is because it is said that there were money lost for certain.
He was not in agriculture; he was in treasury.
He was in treasury. Yes. Now, my point here is we have Mutahi Kagwe, who is a burden to the president. That is why he cannot be fired, despite the fact the strange things we are hearing. In fact, maybe if we live here, we should pass by KEMSA.
Maybe we can get something.
You know, I was hearing horrible stories from the select committee of parliament how people got tenders.
And those guys are just laughing at
it is
this
absurd.
idiocy.
People are laughing at us. So let me tell you, Abongo, I don't have a problem with you trying to support government. I understand the ANC is now part, is an extension of government, and you cannot say anything Mudavadi would not say. But I'll tell you, Abongo, the back stops with the president. Stops with the president.
Okay.
Bitoka has asked. Hold your horses.
Subiri kidogo Ruth. Okay.
Bitoka ameuliza about health. Do you know a certain members of the first family have been time and again mentioned in the scandals in the Ministry of Health?
Yes.
Then, when you are telling me the president is not responsible, when your own sister is involved in a saga of bringing containers supposed to be portable medical facilities that never took place with billions lost, why are you telling me I should not tell the president the buck stops at him? I'll tell you.
Of the standard, yeah.
Yes, I'll tell you. Today, and I keep saying, look at the SGL. Bitok.
Someone told me actually it's now illegal to drive all the way to the end of the SGR.
Yes.
Yesterday, someone told me that we're trying to drive. And
Yes. So Bitoka, I'm telling.
I'll give it to you. Muchendu, finish.
Yes, Bitoka, I'm saying.
Masani
Look
bad.
at the
Tumekwisha 9:30
SGL.
tayari.
The SGL. My daughter will graduate in the university, get married, and have a family before this country can offset the loan of SGL. Why were we going to invest on SGR like stupid people? Because before the SGR came, the gauge railway that we had was not even bringing 0.1% profit to the Republic. Why would we have not crossed the gauge railway, uproot it, and build an SGR in the same way? It would have costed 20% of what the SGR has costed us today.
So, you know, my problem with Muchendu is not that...
1 minute, exactly.
We're not disagreeing with Muchendu, and I think the listeners need to get this very properly. The problem with me and Muchendu is that Muchendu is calling it tomato, I'm calling it tomato. Muchendu is saying, in the Ministry of Health, Kagwe needs to go. You know, he's taken the angle of ministries, heads of ministries. But I have taken the angle of county governments, because that's where my interest is. At the end of the day, as we said, the buck stops with the president. Everybody has a role to play. Right now, as we speak... Listen to me kidogo tu.
It's devolved, but the resources remain at the national government.
That's the
and
thing.
he's asking why.
That's the thing. And me, what I'm saying, Bitok, is that the times that money has gone to county governments, and it does, Muchendu, you agree with me. The times that money has gone to county governments, kuna governors wamekula tu your pesa live. As in live. And Muchendu, let me tell you, our interests are different. You might be targeting the ministers and the cabinet secretaries, but I am targeting counties, because at the end of the day, let me tell you,
guys, can you
when the buck stops with the president, there is an MCA whose role is to keep the governor into account. There is a woman rep whose role is to make sure county government is working for her citizens, and she's not working. There are MPs whose role is to ensure CDF is working for the people, and it is not working. So all I'm saying is that when we get a chance to elect
the right people.
Elect from MCA to president, people who actually care about the society.
It's not that one. I'll mute all of you.
Listen, the back stops to the president.
Sometimes, as much as governors are at fault, sometimes we are crucifying county governments for nothing. I'll give you an example. When we formed the county governments, there was what we call secondment of employees.
Okay, wacha tuchukue simu tusikie wananchi wanasema. Hello, jambo.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. This is Stanley.
Dizo?
Yeah, Stanley from Maryland.
Okay, tuambie dadi.
Yeah, nataka kuambia Ruth.
Yes.
After the show, aende nyumbani asikie kama kuna recording, ajisikie mwenyewe. It's like it's like he's living in a different country.
Are you guys for real?
For example,
yes.
Yeah, nataka nimwambie, for example, shule ikise everybody anaangalia the head teacher.
Yes.
So the first person to take responsibility is the head teacher before the head teacher.
Yes.
So in a country, the first person we look at is the president himself.
I understand.
So, yeah. Otherwise, I'm saying that the show is good, and be blessed.
Asante sana ndugu yangu. Haya, unaweza piga simu, nambari ni 0779-800-010 au 0779-800-010. Bunge la mwenye nchi iko wazi, 0779-800-010 au 0779-800-010. Alright?
Let me read something for you. This was posted in Vihiga County Forum 2 hours ago by a gentleman called Jomba Mwashi Collins. And that you will understand, and I hope the listeners will understand why I'm very passionate about the lower level of leadership here. This person posted and said, what was Otichilo healthcare meant to do? Vihiga are visiting other counties to access healthcare. Counties such as Kisumu, Nandi, and Kakamega, the discrimination they face only God knows. Vihiga healthcare is in shambles. Oh, I mourn for Vihiga. And it is very true. And for me, why I would be passionate about this talk, and I will repeat it. I will repeat this thing over until it gets into the heads of the people, why I'm very passionate. This weekend, you know, we are being up close and personal. This weekend, my grandmother, who I love to bits,
Yes.
Mama Dorika Budohi, she's a mother to me. Nilinyonya matiti ya shusho yangu.
Yeah.
She breastfed me.
Aya.
She's been unwell for the past about 3 weeks now. Actually 4 weeks now. Na the cause of illness ni ile tu ako on off. You will understand, Muchendu, why I am being passionate and talking about governors and women reps. Let me tell you, Bitok. First of all, state ya healthcare facilities za Vihiga, it is in the worst of states. Unapeleka mtu Mbale hospital, unaambiwa hata mashini ya kupima damu hakuna. Unapeleka mtu Mbale kuzaa, unaambiwa mashini ya kupima pressure hakuna. So you are a pregnant lady, you are about to deliver, unatolewa huko, watch hata pregnancy. Somebody like my shosho. And by the way, I will always repeat again, I lost my grandfather who was my father to me as well. The late Nathan Budohi, back in 2018, July 2018. And he died because when he was taken to hospital, they misdiagnosed him. Are you understanding what I'm talking about? Yes. He was taken to hospital, wanamwambia ugonjwa ndio hiyo, sio ile. The day he was to be taken to hospital, for him to die the next day, to collapse and die,
yes,
we couldn't find a proper means to take him to hospital.
Okay.
Why barabara? Unasikia? Ngoja kidogo tu barabara. Shosho yangu.
Wacha tusikie alafu. Hello, jambo.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you, Peter.
Yes, sir. Yes, Aaron.
He's Ruth Ambogo.
Yes.
Ambogo. Ruth Ambogo.
Ametufunja roho sana.
Aya, roho zimeisha.
Mimi ni mwanasheria.
Hapo umekula na watu wa IMF.
Mimi ni mwanasheria.
No.
I am an economist, a policy maker, and a lawyer.
Now you're telling us about counties where the facts over the president. You see, sisi si wageni Kenya. Tunajua ile kitu inaendelea. Pesa inatafunwa left, right and center.
That is true.
Hata mimi nilipigia Jubilee kura na saizi nalia.
Nalia wote. Kama kuna mtu anaanza noma machozi.
Tunasema venye iko. Si ati tunaogopa kusema kwa sababu now you are supporting somebody, unaanza kusema ati inji inaenda vizuri. Inaenda vizuri wapi? Where? Just mention one institution in Kenya ina run vizuri. Moja tu ile inaendelea vizuri.
Hata utake mbili.
Moja tu hakuna. Hii nchi bwana karibu inakuwa disbanded.
Kila mtu anaenda nyumbani.
Yes, hapo tafadhali usituongeze uchungu ile tunasikia.
Aki wewe nimekusikia. I agree. I stand corrected.
Nataka kura tafadhali. Watu kura lakini
nisikize tafadhali.
Lakini hawatana na nyinyi.
Usini crucify. What I'm basically bit okay? Aki I hope Kenyans are not taking me our
Kenya amekataa mambo yako by.
In fact, let me tell you bit okay?
Aaron, wacha Aaron amaliza. Aaron
na Ambogo tafadhali watu wakiongea tafadhali usikize kwa sababu kama hutaki kusikiza.
Aki nimewaacha.
Yeah, ukitaka kura hiyo kura yako utapoteza yote.
Usiseme hivyo itakuwa mbaya.
So wacha kutetea serikali ile imekula pesa ya watu imetafuna. Sasa hivi tunapewa kama load wanachukua tunapewa kama queen.
Sasa Aaron, unapiga kutoka wapi lakini?
Niko Nairobi, Gerald.
Okay, asante sana Aaron. That is Aaron from Nairobi. Amesema mwachana nao usiongezee uchungu.
Bitok. Let me
that's the feeling of Kenya.
I understand. Let me tell you Bitok.
That's what I was telling you. I mean, unataka usikie wa Kenya. Ni kama usikiange.
Aki wewe Bitok.
Just before
yes.
You know, I was saying
kuna Mkenya mwingine anakuja. Okay.
Atakuja. What I'm saying is this sometimes we are in the business of bashing governors and county government. They have not been able. Maybe
I'll keep interrupting you guys, please. Kwa sababu ni wakati wa bunge. Ino wakati wa bunge, wacha tusikiza wananchi. Jambo, bunge la mwananchi.
Hello. Good morning, Jared.
Good morning to you, sir.
Hello.
Nashukuru sana dada.
Wacha tu nitupie Ruth one Chinese saying inasema. Wakati kikombe kuna maji.
Nilikuwa nangoja ongee Chinese.
Leo kikombe imejaa maji.
Yes.
For you to add more water lazima uempty hiyo kikombe tena.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing is that for you to get more information, you must empty your cup. Because kabla uja empty your cup, anything that utakuwa unamwaga hapo itakuwa inaenda nje. No. So there's nothing that this government has done. Na wakati tunaongea story ya economy, kama una facts tulie. Unaona? Go get your facts first so that you can come and
where tupatie facts. Aki tupatie facts tukusikie.
Unaona? Because one thing about this economy is that for the past 6 years we've been having a budget deficit. Unaona? For the past 5 years we've been having a deficit. So for somebody to say that, oh, Kenya is in a good position to pay the loans that we are taking, that is not true. Even yesterday, the IMF published in their page that Africa, Kenya particularly, is in a debt crisis. You know, we can be able to borrow, yes, because there is a possibility that we can pay. But the fact that Kenya called for a debt period of time whereby they won't be able to pay the debt, is because we are not doing that well. You see? So for Ruth to say that, oh, we are in a good position to pay this debt, that's not true. So as a matter of fact, per year we are raising close to 1.4 trillion in terms of revenue. But the amount of money that we are paying in debt is 1 trillion. Like last year, we paid 1 trillion Kenya shillings. So how much money do we have left? 400 billion. That's not even enough to go to the counties, which is close to 355 billion. So what has the government been left with? 550 billion to run the country for 1 year. So the country is in a debt crisis. And that's why we as Kenyans need to be up in arms to castigate the government about its unwarranted borrowing. This is not the time whereby we should be borrowing to improve our infrastructure. We should be putting this money in places whereby they have a direct impact on the common person.
Okay.
You know, like giving people the stimulus payment, even if it's 3,000, even if it's 4,000. Investing in our healthcare, because that is where the problem is at the moment. But you see, the government is just borrowing so that they can build some fancy projects that do not have a benefit to the Kenyans. So even if she wants to run for political office, let her not be a sycophant. She should be able to address the issues the way they are. Unajua saa zingine sahii tunapata watu wanakuja kwa media stations, but all they want is wanataka kazi, wengine wanataka to run for office. They don't want to address the issues that are really facing the common mwananchi. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. Nasikia umekasirika kabisa.
Watu wamekasirika leo.
Talking about there's something I want to put out to you guys as we pick up another discussion. Bolivia is one of the poorest countries in Latin America. Now, on Wednesday of February 17th, they returned $351.5 million to IMF.
Wow.
And these $351.5 million to IMF was included $4.7 million in interest and commissions. Reason why? The Bolivians protested that the IMF is continuing to give loans to Bolivia. Now, about the sensitivity of IMF to the state of the country, because you mentioned that IMF is concerned about how you can pay the money. It's clear then that Bolivia, among the poorest countries in Latin America, is not able to pay back its loans. Now, they returned the $351.5 million US dollars to IMF after the citizens of Bolivia protested that they were going to get more burdens on them. That is Bolivia, one of the poorest countries in Latin America, being given money by IMF with clear economic indications that Bolivia is not able to service its loans. Muchendu, you were saying something.
You know, let me tell you, one of the businesses that IMF is in, and I'm not afraid to say this, it is to exploit the poor nations. Let me give you an example. IMF lends the money both to the poor countries and to the rich countries. Today, if the US government is taking a loan from IMF, for instance, they will get that loan at 2% interest. The Kenyan government takes the same loans. They get that loan at 19% interest. You see, you are giving breaks to countries that do not need it and taxing more to those countries who actually need that break. I don't understand the economics being used by IMF other than terming it as an exploitation. And I'm telling you, you want to know it's an exploitation? Let me give you something probably Abongo doesn't know. Capital added tax was abolished before 2015 Bitok. The capital gains tax was abolished 30 years before. But because IMF wants to get interest and get their money paid well, they had to force the government to introduce a tax that had been banned for 3 decades to come back to force, just so that they can pay the money. Today, are you aware that the tax breaks that the president had apparently given during COVID, it is IMF that forced the government to renegotiate the terms and reintroduce the taxes and the percentage that were there previously. This is an institution that it's only invited to a country that has failed to manage itself, believe you me. Because otherwise, we do not need an international foreign monetary institution to manage our debt, Bitok. So let me tell you, Bitok, IMF is getting it. And one thing I love about the petition going on in this country, Bitok, it may not change the status of the current loan, but it is going to be put in advisement by the IMF the next time. We have a 3-year period. The Kenyan government is negotiating with IMF. In fact, 255 billion is a tip of the iceberg. We have negotiated a 3-year pack of about $2.4 billion. If you convert that to Kenyan shillings, you can understand how much money we are talking about. The nation, the other day, the National Assembly, which I'm always disappointed in, actually took the debt ceiling for the Republic to 9 billion. By the time Uhuru Kenyatta is reviewing the government, Bitok, this parliament will have been asked by the government again to extend the debt ceiling, because we will have exhausted the debt ceiling we currently have. Before taking this 255 billion we are talking about, we had already gone up to 7.06 trillion shillings in debt. So if you add the about 900 and something billion we want to take from the NHIF Bitok, it means by the end of this year we will be in debt to a tune of about 8 trillion.
Okay.
And that means, because next year Bitok, if we are going to have election, we are going to have a very serious budget. It only means that we will have to extend the debt ceiling from 9 billion probably to 11, from 9 trillion to probably 11 or 12 trillion. And that is not the best way to run this country.
Okay.
So I think for me, the Boruvians are showing the poor and third world nations the way to go. Because what magic, as much as Magufuli may be long in so many things, as far as I'm concerned, Bitok, what magic did he do to be able to fund his own national budget? I can imagine with the new structures Suruhu is setting, Tanzania might 100% do away with the international debt. They will probably be getting donor funds. So I think for me, what Ambogo and those people who subscribe to that school of thought must understand is that this nation is on its knees. There are people, let me tell you, there are people who you never have fathomed that they would ask for help. Today, they are asking for help, Bitok. Not because they are lazy, not because they cannot work for them. It is because the economic principles being applied by this government are forcing them. Today, I have Mama Bogas from our village who are asking money because over 50% of Kenyan live to hand to mouth. They live on whatever they make daily. You have crossed those eateries. They cannot make money.
Okay.
They are resorting into begging. That is
So,
not the kind of
Ruth,
economy.
you have a rejoinder?
Yes, I have
Very quickly.
I think
We have 9
I have
minutes
been
to close.
misunderstood. I think I have been misunderstood.
You are misquoted.
I have been misunderstood by everybody.
You are now becoming a typical politician.
No.
I've
I'm
been
being
misquoted.
honest. I have
Okay.
been misunderstood by a lot of people. And I think the misunderstanding also comes from sometimes people tend to, and I don't know why this is very, let me just avoid that topic altogether. But what I'm trying to say is this. Number one, when somebody is articulating issues with passion, let's not be the people to call her crazy, mad, detached, and things like that. Let us be people to understand that this person has a place she's coming from. At no point did I say that the president is not responsible for what is happening in the country. I said it. In fact, if people will remember, I said, when the president told us that every single day, 2 billion shillings is being stolen. What did I say? I said the next thing should have been, he should be telling us what efforts or what is he doing to ensure that that 2 billion shillings is not being stolen. And I said, there are institutions in this country. The president, let's be honest, we passed a constitution called Constitution 2010. And this is where by the Heavy Talk, I will differ with a lot of your listeners and viewers. Because I don't just come here with the mind of a lady without backing and content. I am a lawyer, I am an economist, and I'm a public policy practitioner and a governance specialist for that matter. Maybe those are some of the introductions that a lot of people didn't understand. When you see me talking about facts and figures, these are facts and figures that if you go online, you will actually find them to be true, not lies. I don't cook figures. When you hear me say that there are institutions, it is because I am coming from a legal perspective that tells me we passed a constitution that has a president with cabinet secretaries supporting him, an executive, a legislature, and a judiciary. And we are asking ourselves, actually, I will not even go into every detail of each of the institutions, but we passed a constitution. We gave ourselves a constitution that says we had 3 structures of leadership in this country, or 3 structures within which we can exercise our power, and including the final one, which is citizen power. And I thank God that we are exercising our power as citizens right now. I am very happy about it. And I actually resonate with it. It would be very sad for people to say be talk on your show and you allow it to pass that I don't resonate with the common struggles of the Mwananchi. When I am talking about how a mama is dying in Vihiga, when I'm questioning things such as the Otichilo healthcare program, when I am asking serious questions such as the fact that my grandmother is unwell and I had to take her back to hospital because the hospital she was taken to gave her a wrong diagnosis this past weekend, when I'm articulating issues such as my grandfather passed on because he could not access proper healthcare in Vihiga County, then for you Bitok hata wewe uko na kashida kidogo to allow your listeners to actually say that I do not resonate with the common interests of the Mwananchi is very wrong. Nisikize tu by the way. And Mwananchi needs to be very objective. That when we have a judiciary, when we have an executive, where the president is the head with the deputy president, by the way, is the deputy president on all these issues. He is still the deputy president. Why is it that he only comes up when politics is being mentioned, but when critical issues affecting the country and the economy are being questioned, he's nowhere to be seen? Ako wapi na mbona amenyamaza? He's our deputy president as far as I'm concerned. And hata supporters wake wanakujanga wanasema he's our deputy president, anatitiwa siwi kivipi. Now we are talking about serious economical issues. Where is the deputy president? Number 2, the cabinet secretaries, and I agree with Muchendu very much. Those people need to go home. Those people need to go home. Do you think I would sit down and say Mutai Kagwe is doing a good job when I know that the healthcare sector is actually not functioning? They need to go home. I agree. But now that is the executive level. Let us come down to the legislature, which is where I find my thriving, because I'm soon going to be a woman representative for Vihiga County. My question is this. You have an entire structure where you have a governor who is like a president of a county, where you have Mama County there, who is a woman representative who is supposed to be taking care of the issues who are mama, youth, women, persons with disabilities. You have members of parliament. At the same county structure, you have a senator. The same county structure, you have MCAs. Kazi yao ni gani? Because at the end of the day, we cannot lie to ourselves, and Muchendu, even you are trying to lie to our listeners, ati pesa haiendagi kwa counties. Money actually goes to counties for projects. Sometimes it doesn't reach yote, but money, and that is, we also need to question that. Money actually goes to counties. What do these governors do with that money? They eat that money, and that is why uliona watu kama kina Sonko walitolewa, watu kama kina Waititu walitolewa, and we are saying more governors need to go home. Let it not be seen as if I'm fighting Otichilo, but the truth of the matter is our healthcare system in Vihiga is pathetic. Yes. If COVID was to hit Vihiga today, oh my goodness, I fear for my grandmother. I'd rather transport her from Vihiga, nikaya nae Nairobi mahali nitam quarantine mimi mwenyewe, because in Vihiga, I promise you, if COVID hits there seriously, we talk ni kubaya. And you know, COVID hit Kakamega. That is when they realized they were not ready. And I saw the Senator Kakamega Cleophas Malala taking a walk last year to hospitals and questioning and playing his role as a senator, holding his government to account. Akauliza madaktari, why is it that Kakamega County Hospital makes 13 million shillings every year, and yet the money that comes back from the county government to the hospital is 3 million shillings? Where is the rest of the money going to? Why haven't healthcare workers been paid? And that is the same question I will ask for my senator for Vihiga County. What is he doing? Senator wangu wa Vihiga County Haniri, where is he when people are talking about such issues? My woman rep, where is she? And that is why I'm saying the next time we get a chance to vote for people, from top to bottom, my friend, we vote in MCAs when you wakienda kwa county assembly, they are not swayed by some 30,000 shillings and some to small bundles and drinks to not vote for, to not listen to issues affecting wananchi. And at the same time, the judiciary's role iko wapi? Wakati cases za corruption zinapelekwa kwa judiciary, why is it that those cases drag on? Why is it that Sonko will be found culpable for corruption, Waititu will be found culpable for corruption, and what the law recommends is that they need to pay back the money they have stolen, and yet that money has not been paid back? So every single person has a role to play, and I thank God that we as the wananchi are playing our role. So everybody from top, from the lowest, the least of Kenyans, and I'm happy we are doing it, to the topmost person needs to play their role. And if they are not, including the president, kanyaga kubwa kubwa ukifanya nini? Ukiendanga. I rest my case.
I'm going to tell my sister here, I don't come here to mislead people. I always speak from facts as they are. And when I say that as much as governors have a role in health matters, because they are health matters in our constitution.
But there's a question I want to ask you, Muchendu.
Yes.
Because you come from Kiambu, I just remembered.
Yes.
Ruth Ambogo said that there was removal of Sonko, the removal of Waititu, who was said to be corrupt. Since Waititu was removed, has things changed in Kiambu?
Yes, things have changed in Kiambu. We have moved from the pan to the fire itself.
You are not serious.
No, true. We have Waititu who was saying, we have Waititu. Why are you guys laughing? It's true.
You have Waititu on steroids.
We have Waititu who was being said to use street methods to steal. Now we have a governor who is using a pen to steal. He has absolutely no idea on how to read Kiambu County. That is a fact. And that is why Kiambu County has stagnated. We have a governor who is full of himself, who cannot listen to advice. And he is heading this county of Kiambu to a ditch. Now, what I was going to say before you you decided to introduce Kiambu,
that it fixes things.
Yes.
Are you fine again?
No. Now, the point I wanted to bring across, and the reason why we have a problem in healthcare in this country, we talk. In I don't know whether it is in the 5th schedule of the Constitution 2010, where health is a devolved function. A total devolved function. Yes. Now, let me tell you facts about health which makes me detest the Jubilee government. And Mutahi Kagwe and anybody who works in the Ministry of Health, Bitok. In 2012-2013 budget, the Ministry of Health had been allocated about slightly over 90 billion. It was allocated about 94 billion shillings, Bitok. Fast forward to now, we have devolved health to the county government. Roger could have dictated that you would expect the budget of the ministry, because now the responsibility of health has been devolved to county. You'd have expected the national government Ministry of Health funding to decrease so that money can be channeled to the county government. But what happens? Fast forward to 2015 Bitok, and the Ministry of Health was allocated 152 billion. Yet, it is being allocated more money as counties are denied money, but the responsibility of health has been devolved. There was something called, at devolution, when devolution started, there was something called secondment. Kiambu County, Nairobi County, Kiambu County and Kakamega County received the largest number of seconded employees from national government to the county. But what did national government do? It is seconded workers to go to the county but never released funds to pay them. Today, we are allocating the Kiambu County Department of Health almost 5 billion. But I can tell you 75% of that money goes to pay salary because it received a very serious bunch of seconded employees. Now, today, Bitok, as we are talking, that Ministry of Government, Ministry of Health in the national government that has no business having more money, instead that money should go to the counties which have been given that devolved function. That ministry in the year 2018-2019 has been allocated 207 billion. As we go on, the Ministry of Health continues, national government continues to get more and more allocation. Yet, the responsibility they are being given, it is a devolved responsibility that should go to the county. I want you to imagine Ambogo saying here about Vihiga and the problems in the hospital. What about if we devolved this 207 billion? The only money we should leave with the national government Ministry of Health is money to run level 6 and above hospitals, and money to actually learn assessment on how counties are doing their health work. So therefore, I find it in bad blood and I find it in bad faith that the National Treasury continues to allocate more to the Ministry of Health, which has no business being allocated more money in a responsibility that is already supposed to be done by the county government. So when I say the ministry and the government of Uhuru Kenyatta has terribly failed, today, Bitok, you remember this government introduced machines and equipment to hospitals that we were supposed to pay, to hire and pay. There are counties today, they are still paying for machines that have gained dust.
They are not working.
They are not working. So when you are talking about health, please, unless you live in another republic,
forget about it.
Forget about
Now,
it.
there's something here that Kiprotich Koromicha has raised. I don't know if anyone of you has read the drafting amendments. Kenya is drafting amendments to immigration laws to make it easier for wealthy foreign investors to acquire citizenship. Kenyan Invest says there's no opposition by policymakers. Have you read about that? Personally,
I have not read about it. And
so maybe you can decide then you'll give answers to Koromicha.
Yes, I will do that. But I do not find it strange with the way this government operates. It is, look at what they have done with the IMF. They have just traded the citizens' rights for loans with the IMF.
Okay, are you aware of that, Ruth?
So these tycoons...
You're aware of that draft amendment?
Yes, listen,
by the way.
This kind of amendment to my immigration, they are benefiting people who are rich. So would I be mistaken if I say that they are putting up a law that will help rich people to buy citizenship in this republic?
Well, okay.
Because for you to qualify, you will have to have a certain amount of money. So it is as simple as allowing foreigners to come and buy citizenship in this republic. And
it's not even Kenya. It's about wealthy for foreign investors. Okay, yes.
So foreign, let me tell you, they can use the whatever names they want, foreign investors and what. The countries that have allowed such citizenship, as you know them, these are countries where most nations are fighting for them to return wealth that is hidden in those countries. Are we saying that Kenya has become a safe haven for people who are stealing to come and live in Kenya? Because that's what it would mean.
Okay, Ruth.
One thing I will talk about, and by the way, now this is very objective regarding debt. And I had him mention at some point that maybe I'm talking like this because I'm now a member of ANC and the ANC is friendly to government. I need to tell him something that one of the ANC MPs is doing regarding the whole debt situation. So we have a member of parliament from Nambale who is called Sakwa Bunyasi, an ANC member of parliament. This is very serious, Governor. Sakwa Bunyasi is an ANC member of parliament, and he's presently pushing for a motion that will handle our debt borrowing strategies and means. And one of the things that this bill is seeking to do, it's a bill by a member. can I repeat again that can I repeat that the bill I'm talking about is a bill that is being pushed by a member of Amani National Congress, which is headed by Musalia Mudavadi, who is my party leader, of whom I am a foot soldier 001. The member of parliament is pushing for a bill that will look at how do we borrow loans and how do we negotiate for these loans. What do we bring to the table when we are going to the negotiating table? And I think part of the bill is actually proposing, I'll send you that bill by the way, both of you, is proposing that there actually be public participation before the country borrows debt, so that we don't get to a situation where we are in chaos as we are right now, that the public actually gets to participate in forums where we discuss, should we borrow money from World Bank or not? If yes, why? If no, why not? Are you getting?
Okay.
So that's a bill that I think Kenyans should look at. It is a bill that I think Kenyans will appreciate. And by the way, that alone should tell you the brand of politicians that ANC is unleashing out here.
You guys now have to pay for marketing ya ANC.
Hapana, mimi nakwambia tu ukweli. Tuseme tu
Sisi
ukweli.
kuuliza vitu ya
Kama
ANC,
kitu ni mzuri,
utalipa.
mimi nasemanga kama kitu ni mzuri ni mzuri. Kama mali ni safi ni safi. So we have very good members of parliament in ANC, and the thing is that they listen to the vision of the party leader. And by the way, for this bill to become what it is from Sakwa Bunyasi MP for Nambale, it was actually under the guidership and leadership of our party leader Musalia Mudavadi. And that alone, I will always say, should tell you what kind of leaders we have and what kind of presidential candidates we have. Like right now, how many of them have spoken about this debt situation? What are they doing about it? Not just talking about what are they doing about it? What Mudavadi has done about it is that he sat with his members of parliament and they got sisi tukakaa chini kama youth league, tukapeana suggestions zetu for the bill, and the bill is now being pushed by Sakwa Bunyasi, member of parliament, Nambale, and NC member. Now sasa imagine mimi mama Masawa Vihiga nikiongezeka kwa hiyo mix.
Mali safi.
Tutakuwa mbali sana.
Haya, sivu jibu swali yangu sasa.
Yes.
Do you know about the amendments on foreign laws to give foreign investors citizenship?
I have not been keen on
You're
that.
private.
I have not been keen on that.
Okay.
I will check it out, and maybe the next time we come to the show, I will follow on it. But just a quick one again, Bitok. There's something that I think we also need to discuss critically in a short moment. Yeah?
Yes.
How does Kenya negotiate for things? A lot of times you've seen photos of Kenyans going to meet up with foreigners, and before them they have zero pen, zero paper, nothing. And on the other end of the line where they're going to seek for help, watu wamebeba ma notebooks na makalamu na makaratasi. Even in meetings where, remember there was a meeting where Trump met with the Kenyan leadership. You remember that photo? Before Trump exited office, the meeting where he had a meeting with the Kenyan delegation.
Yes.
And watu hawakuwa na makalamu na makaratasi. I was having a conversation with a very close friend of mine yesterday who has had the privilege of sitting in a meeting where Tanzanians were negotiating for some money from the US. And this was yesterday, as late as yesterday night. And that conversation was to the effect that the Tanzanians' first thing they did was, when they sat at that negotiating table, they decided the language that they would use was Kiswahili. Are you listening to me? So it was the US's job to look for interpreters who interpret, like they were not bowing down to these colonialists' needs. Number two, the level of seriousness they had. So this friend of mine that I'm talking about was on the US side of things, of the negotiating table. And aliniambia, when they went back home to sit back to their offices to retreat, they were like, oh my goodness, we have never dealt with such an organized and focused and determined and straight to the point team from African countries like Tanzania. Okay. And you guys were very right. At some point, if we are not careful, Tanzania with this new lady that I love, Suluhu, squeezing nasikianga wanasema Suluhu ya Vihiga. They call me Suluhu ya Vihiga.
Hey, tena wametoka mali safi, wameenda mama Masaa, wamefika Suluhu ya Vihiga.
Suluhu ya Vihiga. So this lady, she will actually transform how things are done. And Kenya better learn that if a woman can do it, we who are led by serious men, what are we doing? And by the way, remember once again, our party leader has through his member of parliament sponsored a bill that is helping us renegotiate have terms and conditions for how we borrow money. This will include public participation, and the member of parliament is called Sakwa Bunyasi, MP Nambale.
Haya, mwambie ukimaliza show akuwekee kitu ya mpesa ya marketing. Haya, tunamaliza kazi Muchendu. Yes. Your final remarks. Kuna gazeti, siko nimeangalia gazeti ya Standard na Daily Nation. I'll just read out the headlines for the viewers, for the tacklers who are online. Acha niangalia hapa my gazeti zangu are misbehaving kidogo hapa. Anyway, give your remarks as I'm trying to fix my newspapers.
As it's my norm nowadays, I always end up my remarks with whatever is happening in Kiambu County. In Kiambu County, we have 3 booming by-elections coming. We have the Juja constituency by-election. We have the Kiamba by-election in the offing, once the speaker declares the seat vacant, since we read the Honorable Koinange to rest on Saturday. And we have a by-election in Mogoga ward in Kabete constituency.
Ni mingi.
That is read by MP Gidua Mashukuru. So I want to urge the people of those different areas that are going to have a by-election to, number one, elect a leader of their choice. There is a problem we are having in the central Kenya, that there are individuals and leaders who believe that leadership can be transferred as inheritance, which is not the case. And specifically, there is this notion that people believe that if a husband dies, the wife should continue with the legacy of the husband. Now, leadership is not an inheritance. Leadership is about qualities of leadership. It's about people who have values that takes one to be able to serve the people. And the people of Juja and the people of Kiamba have an opportunity to prove that in central Kenya, we do not ascribe to that particular ideologies of family succession politics.
Yes.
It is about people's ideologies. Who is that person who has shown capacity to read? Who is that person who has shown that he can become a leader of that particular region? So I am calling upon the people of Juja, where the contest is between the Jubilee party that is now a former share of itself and Moses Kuria's party, PEP. I am asking the people of Juja to come out strong and help us deal with this nonsense of saying that if your husband dies, you are the right person to actually finish his work. This was not your husband's work, it was a public work. So therefore, it's only the people of Juja who have the capacity and the know-how to put up the right person. I am also asking the people of Kiamba.
You'll also pay for marketing.
Yes, I am also asking the people of
pay.
Yes, I am also asking the people of Kiamba, please come out and let the people of the central Kenya and the Kenya know that Kiamba is not a one-family constituency. That now we have over 3 members of the Koinange family wanting to vie, including the director of liaison in county, who is one of the reason the county of government is going to the drains. And now she sounds like she says she have what it takes to become a member of parliament. Being Brad does not in itself qualify you to become an MP. And I am not saying that a member of Koinange family Bitok cannot become a member of parliament. She or he can. But it cannot be that just being associated with certain family called Koinange and a name is your only qualification you are bringing on the table. That is politics of yesteryears. We must say not to it. And the Kiamba people must rise up to the occasion and prove to the central Kenya and to the Republic that Kiamba belongs to the people of Kiamba and they are capable of making their choice without being shown who to choose.
Haya, ukienda mwisho video, itapilia video haraka upesi.
Hello, is that IMF office? Hello, is that IMF office? Thank you. I'm calling from Kenya. Yeah. I heard that you gave Kenya money to save business which affected by coronavirus. And mine has been affected. I'm a manager of Piki Duthi. Oh no, you don't hear Kikuyu. I'm sorry. I'm saying I have a motorbike for boda and I have been affected. So what I want to is don't send my money to government. please send my money direct to my phone. I will give you my number, please. M-Pesa, in Kenya we have M-Pesa. Can I give you number? Thank you. 0720 838 109. And then you put Kenyan code in M-Pesa. So, and remember to send for removal. Siakoruta, removal. Zakutoa, removal. Removal. And I have my friends also, they want you to send direct to their phone. Yeah, they are saying, don't send to the government. Thank you, IMF. Yeah, do the, we are Mamuto Piki border circle.
Let me tell you, that guy.
That was not for you guys to respond.
No. I'm just happy because this is a personal friend of mine, and I told him MC Naswa.
Yeah. Oh, you know him.
MC Naswa used to work for Kiambu County.
Oh, nice.
He's hilarious, but amidst the joke and the funny thing, it brings out the reality of what is happening.
Yeah. I saw him also during Moi's Redcom. All right.
I just wanted to say that I will be going to Muranga this after this show. A friend of mine called Charlene Wamboi. She's a budding politician. Atakuja time yake kifika, I think 2027 she will be on the ballot. She lost her grandmother and great grandmother in 2 days apart. 2 days apart from each other. So I'm going to Muranga there. Na huko pia nitaenda kuuza sera za party leader. Alafu pia tomorrow I'll be in Kisii. Tomorrow I'll be in Kisii for 2 funerals. Apparently kuna watu my friend who is running for women representative there, she's called Kemi Mora, Honorable Kemi Mora. She's also a young dynamic lady. She should come to the show. She's
my friend. She's my friend.
And alisema anataka kukuja show yeye pia siku moja. So they lost two people, two gentlemen in a road accident. So tunaenda kwa matanga Thursday na Friday. Then I will be back to my Vihiga people. Hopefully this weekend tutakuwa Vihiga. Ni touch base na watu wangu wa ground. They are doing a good job. Akina Chris, akina Sharon, akina Chavachai, akina JJ are doing a wonderful job. Nitakuwa kule mashinani this weekend. Just to engage with my people. And of course, let's remember as even we are engaging, COVID protocols to fuate.
Hi, asante sana. Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen, for coming in. It's also a pleasure to have you. The new standard headlines is the Raila's new alliance. That is Mukisa Kitui, Alfred Mutua, Orengo, Kingi, Anyang Nyongo, Kibwana, some guys. Anyway, and then also Kenya suspend surgeries for a lack of oxygen. Oxygen hakuna Kenya. So Kenya suspended surgeries. The country's foremost teaching and vital hospital attributes cancellation of operations. The surgeon COVID-19 patients in need of medical oxygen. Haya. So you're on your own. Wakenya, Daily Nation revealed IMF conditions. Ruto's big gamble. Mad in the family. Fivo kila mahali. Hapana. Imeisha.
No, as a request. I have a friend. We have a friend who requires an oxygen concentrator. So if any one of our viewers has anyone, they can get in contact with you. We have a mom who is fighting for his life at Nairobi Women's, and they are already onto capacity. So if you have an oxygen concentrator at home that you would like to help out, or probably in whichever agreement, just contact Bitok and we will be helping someone.
If you have an oxygen concentrator, please, if someone who really needs it urgently, if you have an oxygen concentrator, please inbox me, alafu nitaweza kusaidia. Why is Doro anasema why is Miss Ambogo moving around intercounty? Na imefungwa. Wametimba Christmas. This madam is in Nairobi and she will cross the disease zone under the protective of barrier. Hiyo ni break of law. Chunga bwana, unaweza tangaza hapo ushikwe kama hujamaliza kwa gate. It was a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you. Hope to see you again tomorrow on Thursday Diaspora Edition. We'll discussing the health, the state of health care, which Jibanzi, what is the name of this guy again? Jibanzi Mwachonda.
Nataka wave leo. Siku shinda hapa akiniambia anafanya kazi mzuri na anitumii kitu.
Joel Rama chairman Diaspora Edition. Muchendu amesema anataka kuona wave. Haya, kesho tunaangalia the healthcare situation, the state of healthcare with Jipanzi Mwachonda. Alafu tunajua inakuaje tomorrow Diaspora Edition. Take care. We love you. This is Tackle and Tackle Lens now. Tuonane kesho.